Canadian Professional Football on CBC. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. KTEL International, specialists in household and leisure time products. Shell Canada Limited. Shell helps. Just a few hours ago, Exhibition Stadium was set up for professional baseball. Now it's switched around for football as the struggling Toronto Argonauts meet another struggling team, the Montreal Alouettes, the defending Grey Cup champions. This is certainly a crucial game for both clubs. The Argos could move into a tie for second place. The Alouettes fall below 500 ball if they should lose. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom McKay, and welcome to our first Sunday afternoon broadcast of the season. It was raining cats and dogs here about an hour ago, but as you can see, the sun is trying to poke through. The temperature is nice, virtually no wind. Let's hope that the rain stays away. Now let's go to Don Chevrier.
All right, Tom. Hello again, everybody. Well, as you saw Jerry DiTilio play in Montreal on Tuesday and almost pull that game out against Ottawa, he looked good, but Joe Barnes is the man that Joe Scudetto wants to have in at quarterback, and Barnes says he can play, recovering pretty well from that right knee, which had kept him out of a couple of previous ball games. So Barnes is back to quarterback the Montreal Alouettes. This man is a strange story. Dickie Harris has torn a bicep muscle in his left arm. He will have to undergo surgery tomorrow, but can play today with that arm well protected. Doctors say he can't damage it any further. As you know, the Argonauts have lost 4 straight. Big pressure on the Argonauts to win today. Let's go down and find out more about that now with Tom McKee.
Mr. Hodgson, we saw just a moment ago, the Vikings have put the double whammy, they say, on the Montreal Alouettes. But is it really this serious? How do you feel about this Argonaut team?
Well, we'll take any help wherever it comes from, Tom.
Do you really need help?
No, I think the boys just need to put it together. We're just beating ourselves most of the games so far that we've lost.
This must be a very frustrating season and/or seasons for you.
Well, it's been frustrating the last 2 or 3 games. I mean, there's been no excuse for possibly some of the performance we put out in the last couple of games, but we're only halfway through the season. They'll turn it around yet.
But you as an owner have to look around. You have to try and decide why this is happening. Do you have any ideas that you could pass along to us?
Well, if I had any ideas and I knew why, the last 2 games would have been different scores.
So you haven't had any thoughts about firing anybody? I'm talking about Leo Cahill specifically.
No, that would be foolish. I don't, as I mentioned a week ago, I don't think you can blame a head coach for all the ailments that we're going through right now. I think the players just got to suck it in a little bit harder and get out there and play.
You feel that you have the personnel with the team right now? There's not going to be a continuing airlift?
Well, I don't like the word airlift. I don't think we've had a continuing airlift. I think last week we replaced, made 3 changes, and I don't think that can be constitute an airlift. As far as there will be changes, I think, yes, there's certain areas we've got to improve upon if we're going to become a contender.
Okay, owner Bill Hodgson, and we'll be back with Don Chevrier and Russ Jackson in just a moment.
You hear a lot of talk these days about the high cost of finding and producing new sources of energy. And at Canadian Pacific, through our subsidiary Pan-Canadian Petroleum, we're investing heavily in exploration and development of new energy resources. But we're also working to turn undeveloped sour gas deposits into useful production. We're actively investigating thermal coal reserves, untouched for many years. We're looking at new ways to economically recover oil previously lost from existing wells. Although it's only one of our activities at Canadian Pacific, development of unused energy resources in oil, natural gas, and thermal coal takes a lot of our energies these days.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Well, Russ, there's no doubt the most pressure of the 2 is on the Argonauts. They've lost 4 straight. The Alouettes have lost 2, but the Argonauts are squarely behind the 8 ball today.
Don, they definitely are behind the 8 ball, although the Ls have lost their 2 ball games. And I think the one thing that Toronto's going to have to try and do this afternoon is maybe make sure that Chuck Ely isn't the complete offense. They've got to get Terry Metcalf into that offense somehow and get a lot of yards out of him, and that's the important thing for them to do this afternoon.
All right now, they're ready for the national anthem down at field level here at Exhibition Stadium. Let's join them. Mary Lou Collins with the national anthem, and we'll be right back with the opening kickoff in just a moment.
What's diversified mean, Harry? It means into a lot of things, Ralph. Canadian Pacific is a very diversified company. They're into mining, oil and gas, forest products, steel, real estate. They're diversified, Ralph, but under different names.
So who knows? They should call them CP Mine, CP Steel, CP Oil and Gas, CP Forest Products.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
We've got a Western crew of officials here headed by referee Don Barker with Merv Pilling, John Strappa, Vern Heath, and Art McAvoy working this game today. Ian Sutter with the ball lined up for the opening kickoff. Hutz hits it low, the 20-yard line. John O'Leary getting back to the 30-yard line. Dan Boubert, a former Hamilton Tiger Cat, brings him down after a 12-yard return. So the sun finally shining after a morning of heavy thunderstorms and lightning in the Toronto area, as the Toronto Argonauts go shopping for a share of second place with Montreal, despite the fact the Argos have lost 4 games in a row.
Now we're going to have to keep our eye closely on Joe Barnes. I would think early in this game, Don, he does not have a brace on his left knee as he did have on Tuesday night in Montreal. He did tell me feels not too bad, but it's well taped up, so we'll keep our eye on him.
Barnes plenty of time to find Larry Smith. Short game was cut off by Paul Bennett. The Argos safety number 20 limits that advance to about 4 yards. It's going to be second down and 6 now from the 34 as you look at the Montreal receivers.
Don, a little bit of a new formation as we're looking at those receivers. Larry Smith and Peter Della Riva have lined up as 2 tight ends through most of the season for the Alouettes. On that particular formation, they both came to the same side of the field, with Peter Della Riva actually playing as a slot back with Gaddis as the wide receiver. Again, the same formation the other way.
And a look at the Montreal offensive line, centered by Don Smith. Take the start. Here's the quick toss to O'Leary, and he led him too far. Joe Barnes getting away from McIver. And Elton Brown at defensive end unloaded the ball a bit too soon for John O'Leary.
Don, they had a pretty good play going there as a screen pass. If he'd got that ball to O'Leary, he had 2 blockers on in front of him and only 1 defensive back from the Argonauts waiting there.
Terry Metcalf, the top of your screen, is back with Paul Bennett near the Toronto 30-yard line for the punt from Wally Buono. And what a 5 performance Buono turned in, punting against the Ottawa Rough Riders at the Olympic Stadium on Tuesday night, averaging well over 50 for much of that game. Plenty of time for Buono to get it away. Now to Paul Bennett, his own 23-yard line. A flag is thrown. Bennett crosses the 35. Jerry Friesen out of the University of Saskatchewan at Saskatoon, number 47, made the tackle. And again, a 51-yard punt by Buono and a 13-yard return, but the penalty marker is down. And they're going to bring it back. A clipping penalty will take it way back to the 11-yard line.
Well, the clipping call is Paul Bennett, number 20, tries to turn it upfield. Number 15, Jim Marshall, is called for the clip.
Chuck Ely is the Toronto quarterback. Early motion, left side of the line. A flag is thrown. Ely is going way downfield for Edwards. It is picked off by Jim Burrow of Montreal. The Argo 50-yard line. That penalty would likely be for illegal procedure. This interception may stand up.
Buddy Hartman, number 29, who lines up in the slot back, moved prematurely and therefore was called for legal procedure. And as number 33 went downfield, Edwards, the ball was thrown up in the air, not well thrown ball at all, and Burrows pulled it down. But not a good start for this Toronto team, and the fans here a little reluctant to cheer for the Argonauts at this time. They want to see them do something, and the Alouettes are in good field position on the Toronto 50.
So Buddy Hardeman incurs an expensive penalty potentially as Montreal goes first down. Ken Stark straight ahead for 5 yards, make it about 6. Penetrates the 45-yard line near the 44.
An interesting situation on the right side of the Alouette offensive line. Pat Bonnet, who has played center for this Alouette club, and Bill Callwinter, a new offensive tackle, are playing against Denny Heim, who is a new defensive tackle for the Toronto Argonauts, along with Elton Brown. Jim Corrigal no longer able to play. He has that problem with a blood clot behind his Achilles tendon.
Dennis Heim, a newcomer on that defensive lineup for the Toronto Argonauts, 11th round draft choice of the New York Giants. This is Ken Stark shopping for and likely getting a first down across the 40-yard line at the Argonaut 39. Doug McIver in that left defensive tackle spot made the stop. We welcome viewers across the country and viewers in the United States watching this Canadian Professional Football League game today from Exhibition Stadium here in Toronto. On a partly cloudy, fairly mild September afternoon. The temperature is 18 degrees Celsius and the high 60s in Fahrenheit. Joe Barnes pitching to John O'Leary. Dave Thomas was not blocked and was there to bring down O'Leary and limit his gain to only a yard or so. Make it a 1-yard advance or 2. Second down and 8 coming up now from the 37.
Don, the Alouettes have used the one formation exclusively, as we talked about on the first play. They've got Peter Delariva and Larry Smith and Bob Gaddis going to the same side of the formation, and then Brock Ainsley usually on the other side. This time they've got Ainsley and Gaddis over with Delariva.
Larry Smith loose on the left side, being watched by Jim Marshall.
He's got some room to run.
There'll be a penalty for defensive interference against the Toronto Argonauts. Number 16, Ike Thomas, reached out and grabbed the Montreal pass receiver, Eric Harris. Just reached out and put the arm on him.
Well, a little surprised to see Joe Barnes running with that ball. He has had a lot of injuries, but he had a lot of open territory and tried to get to the first down marker.
Referee is Don Barker.
Holding. Number 16.
It is Eric Harris for holding. We'll see it here over on the right side.
Well, Ken Starks has started in motion, but Brock Ainsley at the top of the screen as Barnes is running out here and turning it upfield. Pat Bonnet, number 50, has no one to block. Finally takes on Smith, but downfield, number 16, Eric Harris, was holding on to Brock Ainsley as Barnes came around the corner.
So the Alouettes advance to the Toronto 28-yard line. This is Ken Starch. He's been the principal ball carrier for the Alouettes early in this game. He gets down around the 22 for a gain of close to 6 yards. And Canadian Professional Football on CBC returns in just a moment.
This is the premiere performance of the unique Algoma Steel Symphony. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific, of particular interest to the various instruments. The seamless steel pipe, light rails and heavy rails, ingots, blooms, billets and slabs, forged grinding balls, the light flange beam, auto-cold roll sheet, and strip steel, and the ever-popular plate steel. As you can see, harmonious variety is the keynote of the Algoma Steel performance. At Canadian Pacific, keeping in tune with customers' needs is very important to us. That's why we think our subsidiary Algoma makes such beautiful music in the steel business. At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Well, there's the record between these two in 1978 is the Alouettes. Their drive beginning at the 50 have reached the 22, entirely with ground plays. Second down, a marker's thrown. No gain right there. As Starch got rolled back on the right side of the Argonaut defensive wall. Kent Carter at linebacker and middle linebacker Rick Rosano combining to stop him, but a penalty marker is down across field.
Now it looked like Bruce Smith, number 61, jumped offside as he was lined up over top of Doug Smith, the offensive center.
It'll be against the Argos again. Offside. Montreal accepts to the 17-yard line and get a first down out of it. That's the third penalty for the Argonauts. They've been penalized for 30 yards, and the game is only 5 minutes old. Perhaps in their situation, Russ, they're just a little bit over anxious right now.
Well, they know they have to come up with a big performance, and that produces some penalties.
Barnes puts it in the air. It's complete to Bob Gaddis at the 6-yard line. Gaddis into a pile against that barrier on the far side. A bit slow getting up, being covered by Ike Thomas, who is all right. They're helping Gaddis to his feet very gradually now. As you look at Leo Cahill at the bench.
Well, the Alouettes are putting a little pressure on the Toronto defense by putting the 3 receivers on one side. This time Ainsley went downfield, took the outside defender with him, and then Gaddis, who had lined up about 10 yards inside, went to the outside for the 11-yard reception, forcing Ike Thomas to go all the way to the sidelines with him. But the new formation that the Alouettes are using exclusively in this drive has some merits as they're putting the pressure on Toronto's defense.
Gaddis is all right. He's lined up wide left for the first down play from the 6 into the end zone. It goes too far for Larry Smith. Paul Bennett, number 20, back there covering Smith, who had him beaten, but the ball was beyond him.
Larry Smith, number 36, coming back to the huddle, trying to hit him in the end zone, and he's playing his 101st consecutive CFL game, all with the Montreal Alouettes. He started in 1972, and another guy out there, Wally Buono, number 39, who is punting for them, plays linebacker, started the same year, and he's in his 101st game as well. That's a pretty good record.
Right, the backup quarterback, Rodney Allison, out of Texas. Right now, it's Montreal quarterback Joe Barnes we're watching.
Oh, he's got him all alone.
Oh, Brock Ainsley's wide open for the touchdown.
The question was Joe Barnes going to find him, because they were putting some pressure on him, and Brock was in the end zone, nobody within 10 yards of him, waving his arms, hoping that Joe would see him.
When he did see him, he made it look all too easy, Russ. Brock Ainsley with his 3rd touchdown of 1978 gives the Alouettes a lead of 6 points. And right now, Don Sweet will attempt to make it 7.
Sweet's kicked 103 consecutive successful converts.
Increase that by 1. Montreal leads 7-0 with just over 6 minutes gone.
Well, Barnes sprinting out to the left, a little fake in there to Starch as he came out. He's getting a bit of pressure here, and the person who should be covering Ainsley is in helping with the pressure, and you can see how wide open Brock Ainsley was in the end zone, 10 yards away from the nearest defender, Paul Bennett, number 20.
Barnes 3 for 5. That 1 touchdown pass to Ainsley to cap that drive, which began at the 50-yard line. It appears as though in over-anxiousness again. The Argonauts were so convinced that Barnes might run that ball, they moved up and they left receivers like Ainsley wide open.
Well, that's what you see so often when a team gets down near the goal line. They like to roll that quarterback out, because when you're about 5 or 6 yards out, it's so easy for that quarterback, if there's any opening at all, to turn it upfield and get into the end zone, and it puts so much pressure on those defensive backs.
Just another word about Don Sweet. His last miss on a convert was September 28th, 1974. Almost exactly 4 years ago. He's also kicked 118 field goals out of 160 attempts. That's an average of 76.2%.
We were in Edmonton, Tom, to see Dave Cutler's convert string broken at 137 a month or so ago. This is Paul Bennett, 15-yard line. And he brings it back about 15, near the 30. They'll give him the 31. He was taken down by Elatiz Fiatoa. An 18-yard return it was by Toronto's Paul Bennett.
Well, from ground level, you watch Bennett come to the right side here. He had some pretty good offensive blocking going for him as he came around the corner, but Fiatoa, showing the speed he has at 5'11" and 244, ran him down, and they've nicknamed Fiatoa number 55 Toyota in Montreal.
Left side is Edwards. Right side, Slade Willis. Terry Metcalf is surrounded. Down he goes for a loss of 2 at the 29-yard line. Gordon Judges and Larry Utek combine to make the Montreal tackles. And Metcalf's frustration appears to be continuing. While he leads the East in rushing with 373 yards, he certainly was expected to have a total much higher than that. His average is 4.1 per carry coming in from the St. Louis Cardinals. There's Joe Barnes, who successfully directed that Montreal drive to a touchdown for a 7-0 lead. Chuck Ely quarterbacks the Argos. 2nd down and 12. A flag is down. The pass incomplete for his tight end, Slade Willis it was, not Peter Mueller, up around the 40-yard line. Dickie Harris with that arm injury covering him, and it's offside against Toronto to call. Argonauts committing a real collection of errors out there, Russ, and taking some unnecessary penalties.
Offside, the penalty is
They've declined the penalty, so it becomes 3rd down and 12 at the 29.
You get the impression early again, Don, that the Argonauts need a big play. They need a Terry Metcalf to break off a 50-yard run or something to give them something to go for, to give them some incentive and momentum.
Ken Clark is the Argonaut punter. Beyond Randy Rhino, back to his 22-yard line. And then a good first tackle thrown on him by Jim Marshall to pin the Alouettes deep inside the 25. So Montreal leading by 7. Midway in this first quarter will start from inside their 25 with play resumes here in Toronto in just a moment.
At Canadian Pacific, we work in all 4 corners of the world. In transportation and resource development, we work from the Arctic to the Orient, from Australia to Europe, from South America to the Middle East. So you see,
there's more than 4 corners.
At Canadian Pacific, we work in all 8 corners of the world.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Reminder of baseball action next Wednesday on Major League Baseball 78. The Expos and New York Mets from Shea Stadium, New York, right here on CBC. John O'Leary unable to get very much against Rick Rosano and friends. Rosano, the Argonauts middle linebacker, he got across the 25-yard line. Make it a gain of 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 now.
Fans may be wondering why Joe Barnes, who was supposed to be so injured with his knee, is back in this game. It's not ligament. It was not a cartilage problem. He pulled the inside muscle of his knee, and so when he got that added rest from the game on Tuesday, I think it was Scanella's idea all along to start him in this game.
Down he goes, and he stays down. He slipped there in that wet turf at the 20-yard line. Elton Brown there to pin him, number 63.
Well, he had plenty of time to throw that ball, but Jim Marshall, number 15, just did an outstanding job of covering Brock Ainsley, number 19, coming down, running a deep pattern to the sideline. But Barnes going back to throw the ball, looks downfield, but all the time, number 15, Jim Marshall, has got Brock Ainsley, number 19, covered.
A loss of 9 becomes 3rd down and 15 now for the Montreal Alouettes. There's Wally Buono, kicked a 51-yarder his first time he punted tonight. Bennett's back with Metcalf near the Toronto 40-yard line to receive it.
I think Ainsley got crossed up on that play. That's the indication here on the sidelines anyway. Ran their own pattern.
Buono to Metcalf, takes it on the run, tries to get into the clear, and he's upended right there around the 50-yard line. Bob Gaddis turned him over, and Pat Bonnet there to help him out after a 7-yard return. So the Argonauts get across field into Montreal country at the 51-yard line for their first series of plays now. With 6 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter, Montreal leads Toronto 7-0. Metcalf wide left now as a receiver out of the backfield. Hardiman and Braganola lined up as the backs. It goes to Mark Braganola across the 50-yard line around the 48. His gain will be 3. There's 64. Glenn Weir applying the Montreal tackle, backed up by Carl Cornell, the middle linebacker, number 72.
Get him 2, 2nd and 8.
So a 2nd and 7 play coming for the Argos now. Dwight Edwards wide right. Metcalf lined up in the eye behind Braganola. A mark was down as the catch is not made. It's ruled incomplete at the Argonaut bench. Slade Willis, Jim Burrow defending.
Slade Willis, number 74, going down and running an out pattern. He's trying to push Jim Burrow off as much as he can, and it seems like there's a lot of room there. The ball didn't really have a lot of zip on it, and Burrow was able to recover and knock it away. There's some question about the penalty.
You want to decline the penalty, huh? I would think.
Well, if they decline it, it'll mean a 3rd down situation and force the Argonauts into a punting situation. And by the looks of the teams on the field, everybody is assuming that that is taking place.
Interference called against Peter Mueller of Toronto. Offensive interference, so the Argonauts lose it down. It becomes 3rd down and 7. And Ken Clark, the ex-Hamilton Tiger Cat, will punt to Rhino and Harris near the Montreal goal line. Into the end zone, about 4 yards deep to Randy Rhino, who gets out very smartly. Rhino up near the 20 and a good run back from the Alouette end zone. Taken down finally by Gord Knowlton. He brought it back 23 yards after a 53-yard punt. We have fewer than 5 minutes to go now. 4:52 on the board. Montreal leads 7-0.
Rhino excited the people at Olympic Stadium last week on Tuesday night against Ottawa when he returned 2, 1 for 45 yards and 1 for 51 yards in that ball game.
Interesting down here, Joe Barnes was just talking to the head coach Scanella, and they were talking about what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Joe says, let's do this. Barnes says, let's do that. So Scanella says, okay, you do what you want first. Then we'll see.
Make sure it works.
Then I'll correct you. We'll do what I want. So far, he's doing it right. He's got Ken Stark slanting right on that play. And they limit that gain to a couple of yards by Kent Carter on the tackle. There's Joe Scudetto, the new head coach of the Alouettes, replacing Marv Levy, who's gone to Kansas City. That's a 2.5-yard gain. Peter Della Riva, 49 touchdowns in the CFL regular season games. Veteran tight end missed a couple of games with an injured hand. Back at full strength now. All kinds of time for Joe Barnes, but he throws it up to Paul Bennett. Bennett away from start to the 15-yard line. Out of bounds at the 2. The surprising thing was that Joe had all day to throw the ball, Russ, and he fired it right to Paul Bennett.
Well, the one thing this Alouette offensive line is doing, they're giving Barnes lots of protection. He's looking downfield. He moved up into the pocket. No problem. He's trying to hit Peter Della Riva, but Bennett had him covered like a blanket and picked that off and returned it 30 yards to the 3-yard line. But again, as you said, Don, he had plenty of time. It was Barnes who ran him down at the 3.
That's Bennett's first interception this year, and it's a timely one. The Argonauts are first and goal to go. The ball just outside the 2, actually. Braganola is going nowhere. Maybe half a yard. Wally Buono, the right linebacker on the corner, made the stop as they flared everybody out of there and plowed Braganola straight ahead. Got as far as the 1. There's Paul Bennett out of Wilfrid Laurier University with the interception for Toronto.
Well, again, we see the interception that Bennett did make. Barnes got plenty of time. He moved up into the pocket well, but certainly trying to hit Della Riva, and Bennett was in excellent position to intercept.
Great coverage.
I think Scanella might be calling some plays in this game next time they get the ball.
Here's Terry Metcalf. And he, no signal yet, appeared to be into the end zone. But the official's arms did not go up. They will call a timeout and put the ball back on the 1-yard line. It'll be one more crack for the Argonauts from there. So the Argonauts are parked at the 1 with third down coming up. We'll have it for you right after this.
At one time, Canadian Pacific was primarily owned outside this country, in Britain, in the United States, and in a few other countries. In those days, Canadians were low man on the totem pole. But today, that's all changed. Today, over 70% of Canadian Pacific is owned by Canadians. And that certainly looks much better to us.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we are is important to you.
CBC Tuesdays this fall, Rennie Simard is back for a new season of high-powered musical entertainment. CBC's the one to watch for the Rennie Simard Show, Tuesday starting September 19th.
There was some question whether Terry Metcalf did score, but Vistaya, the offensive tackle, did, but they did get turned around. He actually got tackled by his own man and probably did not get into the goal area, and it was a good call by the official. So we have Argos on the 1, third down.
Last chance. Argonaut fumbles the ball. Picked up by the Montreal Alouettes. Chuck Zapek. Zapek laterally it back to Burrow, and the Alouettes are up at the 40-yard line with a first down. And listen to the Argonaut fans. Three cracks from the 2-yard line. Denied on the first 2, and then the fumble on the third, picked up by Zapek over to Burrow, and it's Montreal ball.
Well, you have to give a lot of credit to the interior line of the Montreal Alouettes. Glenn Weir, Gordon Judges, Carl Cornell. They did an excellent job of just preventing them from getting into the goal area. Carl Cornell moving in here and takes a pretty good pop, and it's Randy Rhino, number 21, who actually made the hit and knocked the ball out.
First down, Montreal. That is tipped and nearly picked off. Larry Smith out there was the intended receiver alongside of Peter Dalariva, and it goes incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Dave Thomas knocked it away, as you'll see.
Well, from the top, we see Bragg Nola going in there, and it's Randy Rhino, number 21, who dug his helmet in there, and Larry Utek fought number 18, Chuck Ely, for the ball at the 1-yard line. If Chuck had been able to pick it up, he could have carried it into the end zone, but Utek knocked it away from him, and Zapek was right there. But a good defensive effort by the middle part of that defense of the Montreal Alouettes.
There's the man he flipped it to, Burrow, to get a few extra yards out of it as Chuck was running out of steam. Up around the 30. Barnes puts it way up in the air. Gaddis had to wait for the ball, still got it, and he's down to the 25-yard line.
Well, I tell you, that's when you get a guy turned around, because that ball was up in orbit for so long.
Even the law of gravity almost didn't bring it down.
I know the Ducks are going south, but I'm not sure that was one or not. But he put that ball up in the air, and Marshall, who'd played so well defensively earlier, got turned right around and didn't know where the ball was. Gaddis saw it and just picked it up and took 45 yards with Dave Thomas cutting his legs out from under him to prevent Gaddis going all the way.
Well, that ball was up pretty high, Russ. Now, if we look at it down here, he might have had that ball right in the sun. Not making any excuses for Marshall. He looked pretty bad on the play, but that might be one if he's looking for an excuse.
Any snow on that ball when it came down?
I don't know. I'd check that out. Could have been held on to it.
Ken Starch has 5. Has about 9 yards. Down to the 16. Rick Rosano, the middle linebacker, number 53, brought him down again. In on several tackles, and now Rodney Allison, the reserve quarterback, is throwing to Willis. Warming up. Maybe in to relieve Chuck Ely very shortly.
Well, Starch, who's been the main ball carrier for the Alouettes, does a real good job of coming around that corner. Eric Harris, number 16, tried to make the tackle, but instead of wrapping his arms around him, tried to knock him down. And Starch has now carried 5 times for 28 yards.
This should be the final play of the first quarter. And they whistle it down. They're charging Montreal with taking too long in the huddle. That's what they're doing. Back they go 5 yards. Montreal's first penalty of the game.
Second down. 2nd and 6.
So instead of being 2nd and 1, they're 2nd and 6 now at the 21. Barnes into the end zone for Dallas, touchdown. And Barnes was hit hard with that play and is still down.
Ooh, that looks like
He's
his
getting up
knee.
and he's limping on that bad leg. Down he goes again. The first quarter is over and the score, Montreal 13 and Toronto nothing.
Well, you're gonna get yourself new wheels and you're wondering what they'll be. Just come on trucking with GMC. Get a rally wagon or a pickup truck or get a Jimmy Fun machine and let's go trucking. Everybody's trucking. Nothing goes trucking like a GMC. GMC, the truck people from General Motors.
When you're thirsty, when you're really thirsty.
Canada Dry Ginger Ale, I'm ready for you. Any thirst, anytime, I'm ready for you.
Canada Dry is not too sweet, so it quenches your thirst better.
Canada Dry, I was ready for you.
Any thirst, anytime, I'm ready for you.
Canada Dry Ginger Ale.
All motor oils look alike. They feel alike. On the surface, you can't tell them apart. How can you tell which one is right for your car? Look here, of course, and here. But also look here. Shell Super Multigrade is designed to meet or exceed your car's warranty requirements. So whether you change it yourself or see your Shell dealer, insist on Shell Super Multigrade from the Mileage Company.
Well, Don Sweet has just converted Montreal's second touchdown to stake them to a 14-0 lead. But the big concern in the Alouette camp is Joe Barnes. He went down, that knee gave out under him, tried to get up a couple of times, went back down again, and there's an obvious discomfort there at the Alouette bench.
As Tom was reporting to us, maybe it was just a matter of the fact that it was the knee and it was the muscle at the side of the knee, but on this particular play as he rolled out to the right, little fake to O'Leary in here, and he had good protection out in front of him, and Gaddis did little out and down on the defender, and as he threw the ball, it seemed like no one was near him when he threw it, and it seemed like number 71, Kent Carter, might have come in on him after he's thrown the ball. Going out now from behind him, we might see actually who did make the hit on him as he released the ball. Now there's no one around.
No.
And it looks like it must have been a little late when someone did deck him after he'd thrown the completed pass to Gaddis in the end zone. But certainly that knee might really be a problem and could create some problems for the Montreal team again.
Well, Montreal, Tom, I was going to say, has been led to 112 yards total offense under Barnes. The Argonauts are -1 on the day.
I mentioned before that the injury that kept him out of that Tuesday game was a pulled muscle on the inside of his knee, but they are not investigating that. They are investigating some problem on the outside of his left knee. You can see how well it was taped up going into this game, but he was in some pain, did not want to sit down until they forced him to sit down here at the bench. So you just have to wait this one out, I guess.
The ball is going to the Argonauts on the kickoff from Don Sweet. Rolling down to Paul Bennett, taking his time and finding it, and he's taken down right there at the 7-yard line. Elatiz, Fiatola, and Ty Morris down to stop him in his tracks and give the Argonauts a pretty poor starting position. And there's the story in the first quarter. 112 yards to +1 yard. It is not -1. 1 yard rushing for Toronto in the entire first quarter. Small wonder they're down by 14 points.
The Alouettes have had that ball, yes. The biggest play was the interception.
Rodney Allison comes on to quarterback the Argonauts. Throws the ball out of bounds. It's Slade Willis out there and Dwight Edwards, but really nowhere near them. Jerry DiTilio, of course, will be called upon the next time the Alouettes get the ball to replace Joe Barnes. He quarterbacked a solid game for them in Montreal after a bit of a shaky start. Could have won the game, fumbled at the 16-yard line as they were pressing for the go-ahead points in the final minute. Ottawa won it 23-18.
He took a pretty good shot from Mike Finucci when he did fumble that ball late in that fourth quarter.
Yes, he did. This is 2nd and 10 for Allison and the Argonauts. Pitches to Metcalf, who wants to throw off it, can't find anybody open. And Metcalf slashes through for a first down.
Well, Don, rather funny play to call down there with a 2nd and 10 situation. Everybody's looking for a pass, and usually you throw that halfback pass on a first down situation or a 2nd and short yardage situation.
He was trying to get to Dwight Edwards, the speedy deep receiver, could not see him in the clear, and picked up enough yards for the first down. That is the Argonauts' first down today, and we're in the 2nd minute of the 2nd quarter with Montreal on top 14-0. A quick pop to tight end Peter Mueller at the 25 is good for about 4. Wally Buono, number 39, made the stop. Peter Mueller is the top Toronto Argonaut pass receiver.
Let's go! Let's go! Come on, baby!
That was his 21st catch of the year. It was 1 touchdown.
And the first completion for this Toronto Argonaut offense this afternoon. Terry Evanston in to replace Slade Willis.
Evanston, number 25, heading far right. There's a story on Peter Mueller in 78. A shot. A comeback for Evanston, and he should have the first down around the 33. Dickie Harris covering as Joe Barnes is finally heading to the Montreal dressing room.
It's very difficult to tell down here exactly, certainly he has the bad knee, but exactly what they're going to do about it right now.
Boy, this young man, Tom, has really been injury prone the last couple of years.
Terry Evanston on isolation going downfield and pushing Dickie Harris off and coming back and making the reception for the first down. Good job of keeping the defender away from him.
Again, the quick out to Peter Mueller. Area of the 37-yard line where Larry Utek, an ex-Argonaut, tackles him, and the gain is going to be about 6 yards.
Well, Rodney Allison come in with some short passing plays, Don, and this has been ball control type of passing, which is good. It's something you see Ottawa do a great deal of, where both Holloway and Clements get down there. Allison 3 for 4 now since he's come in replacing Chuck Ealy.
Well, it'll give confidence to an offense that obviously was in a state of mild panic, at least. Peter Mueller again fumbles the ball, knocked out of bounds, ruled incomplete. Was not a catch and a fumble, simply an incompleted pass. So it goes to 3rd down. And Allison's short drive is over.
3rd down.
Randy Rhino, number 21, put a pretty good hit on Peter Mueller. Rhino gives away quite a few pounds to number 72, Mr. Mueller, but he really stuck him.
There he is now, going back to join Dickie Harris on the punt return combination with 3.5 minutes gone in the 2nd quarter, and Montreal is in front 14-0. Ken Clark, 2 good punts today. This one not so good. Takes a bounce to Rhino at the 30. And Rhino driven back around the 36-yard line. And then a penalty marker is thrown for a face guard. It appears to be a face guard infraction after a 6-yard run back and a 42-yard punt.
Well, Randy Rhino was pushed back a long way here, and then as he went down, number 68, Doug Reddle, came in a little late, and they might be calling him for a late hit.
The word from the medics at the Alouette bench as far as Joe Barnes is concerned is he's gone to the dressing room to put back on that brace that he was wearing on Tuesday night if he had been needed in that game. As we mentioned before, he was only taped for this game. With hindsight, I guess they could say now that he should have worn that brace. They will not know until later in the week, after they have some pictures taken, some x-rays, just how serious it is. But the word is now that he'll be back in this game, or at least back on the bench with the brace.
Well, here's Jerry DiTilio. The penalty to the 50-yard line. Marshall grabbed the face guard, and Francis piled on. They got him for that. John O'Leary now has picked up 5 yards straight ahead at center field. Rosano and Bruce Smith defending on him. Wayne Smith at right defensive end, and Bruce Smith at right defensive tackle.
Yeah, 5, 2nd and 5.
There's one of the newcomers you saw in the Montreal lineup. Bill Callwinter, arrival from the camp of the New York Giants.
Let's get across them.
John Taylor has been released, and Callwinter has replaced him at right offensive tackle. Here's Ken Starch. Hit down about the 52, a couple of yards shy of the first down. Smith and Rosano again combining on that stop for the Toronto Argonauts, who are struggling here to regain their composure after getting as far as the 1-yard line. The ball popping free. Recovery by Zapek that led to a second Montreal touchdown.
You talk about things popping, Don and Rush. You should have been down here when they got that fumble back from the Argonauts. I tell you, Lamar Leachman did flips down. I thought he was going to have a fit, as a matter of fact. He likes to rub it in a little bit in his former teammates.
He wants to win them all, but the ones he really wants to win are the games against Toronto.
He loves it, doesn't he?
But they're his defensive boys out there stopping him on the 1-yard line, and that's got to make him happy.
He couldn't come at a better time as far as he was concerned.
Another fine punt, a great one by Buono into the end zone. Metcalf galloping out of there is cracked down around the 10-yard line by Pat Bonnet. A 14-yard return, but a 56-yard punt by Wally Buono. So the Argonauts will start deep again with a little over 5 minutes gone here, trailing 14-0 in the second quarter.
One, the one to watch, the one to see, the CBC this fall. One, the one that glows with all the shows, the CBC this fall.
Sunday nights, the entertainment begins when Bruno Gerussi stars in an exciting new season of the West Coast adventure, The Beachcombers. Then the world we inhabit and our relationship to life and the universe is explored on The Nature of Things. Mary's back. Mary Tyler Moore stars in a brand new hour, comedy, variety, and music, followed by Side Street and its 4th exciting season starring Donnelly Rhodes and Jonathan Welch. Joan Watson and co-host Bill Paul deal with consumer affairs on Marketplace. And Robert Cooper, as the Ombudsman, looks for answers, remedies, and solutions to your problems. Entertainment begins with The Beachcombers starting Sunday, September 17th.
Well, apart from one catch by Terry Evanson, replacing Willis for a play or two, the prime receiver for the Argonauts has been Peter Mueller, the tight end. Rodney Allison in there at quarterback again has been favoring him in a short passing control kind of offense he's shown us to date. A little confusion there by Allison. Larry Utak ends it for him, solves his problem, takes him right down to the 6-yard line. The loss will be about 3 yards.
Well, Don, they went into an offensive formation with Buddy Hardiman in as the running back and Terry Metcalf up as the slot back, and they used this quite a bit against Hamilton, where they used Hardiman in the backfield and put Metcalf up as a pass receiver. That time there seemed to be quite a bit of confusion between Bragignola and Ely.
An Argo offensive line changing as the season goes along. Ellen Bogan and Norton, certainly 2 of the newcomers in that setup. Back into the end zone with pressure goes Allison. The ball is tipped away. Big Clifton Olapa, number 70, got in to bat the ball down. Goes to 3rd down, and now 13 yards to go. Back at the Toronto 6. 8 minutes and 50 seconds until halftime.
Well, Clifton Olapa, number 70, playing that right defensive end spot for the Montreal Alouettes. Junior IU in practice this week, pulled a hamstring muscle, did not practice with the club on Friday and therefore has been placed on the injured list. Has been injured a great deal during his career with the Alouettes.
Tell you one big one the Argonauts are missing too is Jimmy Corrigal today.
That's right. He's a leader out there in that defense as well.
Thought he might be able to play and decided against it last night. Good punt by Ken Clark. Rhino calls for it. Center field. Hits one of his own blockers, Ian Mofford, and that's as far as he got.
Randy Rhino tackled by Gordon.
Ran up the back of Mofford. Gordon Olton was there to pin him down.
Montreal takes over. 1st and 10 at the Argonaut 50.
Our second edition of Grandstand Quarterback is coming up at halftime. Today you can call the plays along with CFL great Don Getty. Stay with us then for Grandstand Quarterback and Don Getty at halftime.
And on a future game, we'll delve way back in the past and feature Russ Jackson as the Grandstand quarterback.
Not that far.
Here's DeTilio throwing for Brock Ainsley, and it's through his hand. The motion of number 16, Eric Harris, might have just distracted him enough to lose the ball, but he had it right there inside the 10-yard line.
Defense, 2nd and 10.
Well, a great throw by DeTilio, and the protection that he's getting out there, as Joe Barnes was getting earlier, has just been magnificent this afternoon, but Ainsley should have had that ball. Eric Harris did put his hand up there, but concentration should have had that one for a big Montreal game.
Rush, you had DeTilio for a while here, but I think at that time there's no room for him.
Well, he wanted to play quarterback, and he came to Toronto from Montreal and decided he'd like to try and beat Ely or Matthew Reed out, and at that time we felt that they were both going to contribute more to our ball club than he could.
Well, the way the rules are right now, it's hard for a Canadian to get a starting job.
This is a rare occurrence, you're right, Tom, to see a Canadian playing as much as DeTilio has, and it's all been because of injury. And it's batted down, intended for Bob Gaddis by Dave Thomas, number 19. And so the score is Montreal 14 and Toronto nothing. Canadian professional football returns in just a moment.
A recent Shell test showed many people didn't know what shape their cars were in. Out of 215 cars tested, 208 had problems. That's 97%. We found 179 cars had fluid level problems, 56 had electrical faults, and 44 had exhaust system problems. Problems that could lead to expensive repairs if not corrected early. That's why Shell wrote the Early Warning Book, one in a series of helpful books, free from Shell. Shell helps.
The Alouettes have nearly 100 yards more total net offense than the Toronto Argonauts do today. They're getting set to punt to the Argos now with Wally Buono stationed at his 45-yard line. Bennett and Metcalf way back in the goal area. Metcalf moves up around the 6-yard line. Got hit by Jerry Friesen. Lost the ball for a moment, but got it back around the 17-yard line. A 14-yard return after a 44-yard punt, and Friesen really clubbed Terry Metcalf.
Well, Metcalf took this about the 6-yard line and started straight upfield with Bennett trying to give him some protection, but number 47, Friesen, did an excellent job of hitting him and stripping of the ball, and Metcalf's momentum carried him forward to fall on top of the ball. Otherwise, Montreal would have great field position.
First down from the 18-yard line. Allison at quarterback. Spots Terry Metcalf. He broke one tackle, got up around the 25, 26-yard line, but is still short of the first down. Buono and Quinnell defending for Montreal.
Well, Terry Metcalf coming across shallow. Allison got pretty good protection on a semi-rollout to the right-hand side and threw the ball to Metcalf, who did break the tackle and made the 8 yards. And Glenn Weir put a lot of pressure on Allison as he was about to deliver that ball.
It is second down and 3. Well, he never got untracked. Didn't get the first down. Metcalf reaching out to about the 27. Piatoa and Carol Quinnell especially cut the feet out from under him. So 3rd and a yard, and the Argos will punt again with 5:58 remaining until halftime. Montreal leads 14-0.
Well, the Montreal receivers, Randy Rhino back here, will be looking right into the sun. These afternoon ball games, the sun becomes quite a factor.
Surprised to see any sun after the kind of dark morning we had here. Rhino has to backpedal. It was 25 to catch this one. But look out. Got an opening. Ken Clark can't hold him. Finally, number 64 came in to cut him down. Bill Ellenbogen. A 31-yard return by Randy Rhino.
Well, he's starting to do this regularly. We had him against Ottawa, returned 2 of them for over 40 yards, and here he just turned it back against the grain, turned it upfield, and he has that acceleration when he finds that little hole, and he's returned punts for 68 yards total today already.
While Rhino stood back there waiting for that ball, the coaching staff of the Alouettes kept yelling, "No clips, no clips." Apparently they were listening.
We've got Spinks and Ali for you, the headline attraction. 3 world title bouts coming up. The big one, Leon Spinks and Muhammad Ali next Friday night on CBC television. Ken Starch, as the flag is thrown, gets out around the 49-yard line. Gain of about 5. Russ, we had a survey last night on the baseball telecast as to who we thought's going to win. What is your choice on Friday, Spinks or Ali?
Well, I'm going to take Ali.
All right.
I think he's coming back.
I think everybody's picking Ali.
That makes it unanimous. Ron Taylor went for Ali. Tom McKee reluctantly for Ali.
No, not necessarily. I just wanted to get something a little stirred up.
King of a minor 5 yards.
Face masking of a minor variety. Now that's the first time I've heard that call.
Well, it's a 5-yard penalty if it's of the minor variety, if they feel it is not intentional, just in making the tackle. Otherwise, it would be a 15-yard penalty and thus give them a first down. So it's 1st and 5 rather than giving them the 15-yard penalty where it's a flagrant grabbing of the face mask.
They don't do that intentionally, do they? Tisk.
Nice they had that choice to distinguish between the two. John O'Leary. That'll be a first down, Montreal. O'Leary pounds down to about the 42-yard line. Montreal with a good running game and an excellent passing game today. Gordon Olton and Ike Thomas combined to stop John O'Leary. Well, last night at the press conference, the 2 coaches had something to say. Joe Scudetto said, talking about the game last Tuesday against the Ottawa Rough Riders. And that's as close as you come. A genius or a bum, 5 points decides your fate.
And 1 fumble.
1 fumble.
Yes, wheel, but a fumble right now.
Detilio fires it out complete. Bob Gaddis pushed out of bounds over on the far side, but Jim Marshall, not before he collects another Montreal first down as his drive is gathering momentum with 4:14 to play in the second quarter.
And Don, that's Detilio's first completion of the afternoon since replacing Joe Barnes, but the Montreal club has had a lot of success with the sprint out. The Argonauts are not putting any pressure on the quarterback. Barnes has had success in throwing those touchdown passes, and now Detilio, who can run as well, is getting to the outside with very little pressure.
He's got Gaddis wide left, Brock Ainsley wide right. O'Leary and Starch. The setbacks. John O'Leary takes it, fights off tacklers, reaches inside the 25-yard line where Bruce Smith finally has him. So the gain is going to be 4 to 5 yards for John O'Leary. Ken Starch is backfield mate, led the blocking again on that play. That's what O'Leary has done this afternoon. 23 yards in 5 attempts. Barnes seemed to favor Starch. Now Detilio's going a lot with John O'Leary on the ground. And there's a welcome to Detilio from Bruce Smith. A defensive tackle, but a penalty marker is down to the 10-yard line. Way downfield.
Well, Don, Ike Thomas, number 26 for the Argonauts, and number 74, Peter Della Riva, were having it out down around the 10-yard line with the official standing right there, so we'll have to wait and see who they're going to call the penalty on.
Yeah, depending what happens there, Don Sweet.
The setbacks. John O'Leary takes it, fights off tacklers, reaches inside the 25-yard line where Bruce Smith finally has him. So the gain is going to be 4 to 5 yards for John O'Leary. Ken Starch is backfield mate, led the blocking again on that play. That's what O'Leary has done this afternoon. 23 yards in 5 attempts. Barnes seemed to favor Starch. Now Detilio's going a lot with John O'Leary on the ground. here's a welcome to DeTilio from Bruce Smith. A defensive tackle, but a penalty marker is down to the 10-yard line. Way downfield.
Well, Don, Ike Thomas, number 26 for the Argonauts, and number 74, Peter Della Riva, were having it out down around the 10-yard line with the official standing right there, so we'll have to wait and see who they're going to call the penalty on.
Yeah, depending what happens there. Don Sweet, of course, ready to come into this ball game. He's just 9 points now away from the magic 700 total.
Defensive holding called against number 26, Ike Thomas of the Argo.
Guess they won't need Sweet just yet.
That'll take it down to the 14. Montreal will go first down from there.
Well, DeTilio getting back. We had a bit of a blitz coming on here. Number 17, Knowlton, the outside linebackers, putting some pressure on, but 32, Starch, did a good job of holding him off. But it was Bruce Smith, number 61, who actually got to DeTilio.
First ball in section 27, row 32.
So it's 14-0. The Alouettes pressing for more points right here with just over 3 minutes until halftime. We'll be right back.
The one to watch, the one to see, the CBC this fall. The one that glows with all the shows, the CBC this fall.
Tuesday, CBC's The One to Watch, starting at 8 with Happy Days.
Saturday night, stock car race. Be there.
That's impossible.
With a 1-hour opening special, then it's Three's Company.
Hey, Jack, do I look okay?
Everything seems to be there.
2 girls and a guy sharing one apartment and a lot of laughs. Then it's award-winning investigative journalism at its best with reporters Adrian Clarkson, Eric Melling, and veteran broadcaster Ian Parker on The Fifth Estate.
The CBC this fall.
CBC, The One to Watch, Tuesday night starting at 8 with Happy Days.
That previous penalty is number 74, Peter Della Riva, went downfield. You see number 26, Ike Thomas, just holding him a little as the flag is thrown.
Twice. They called him the second time. John O'Leary cut down as he tried to slant left by the new defensive tackle, Dennis Heim. Number 52, the play originating at the 14-yard line. Now they're down to about the 13 for a 1-yard gain. Wayne Smith, an ex-Ottawa Rough Rider, BC Lion. At defensive end today for the Argonauts, Himes playing defensive left tackle, Bruce Smith the right tackle, Elton Brown in place of the injured Jimmy Corrigal at defensive left end. 2.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. This is second down and 9, Montreal. DeTilio's pass no good. Lunging for the ball was Della Riva at the 5-yard line. So now we'll see Don Sweet of the Montreal field goal team appear.
From the ground, the success that the Alouettes have had in rolling out, no pressure on the quarterback, but good coverage on Peter Della Riva. Tried to make the diving catches. Kent Carter, number 71, was there on the coverage. Kent Carter's played for a few ball clubs. Started with the Ottawa Football Club, went out west, was with Hamilton for a while. Originally from Southern California.
Sweet's nearly unbeatable in a situation like this. He's kicking field goals at a success percentage rate of about 86% this season.
This one almost directly in front for him. It'll come from around the 20-yard line. DeTilio holding for him. And there it is, almost automatic for Don Sweet. As the Alouettes increase their lead to 2 converted touchdowns and the field goal now, it is 17-0. Montreal leading Toronto. We have 2 minutes and 24 seconds to play in the second quarter. It has virtually been all Montreal this afternoon. The Alouettes coming off a tough loss to the Ottawa Rough Riders and bouncing back well here, taking advantage of Toronto errors and certainly Toronto penalties created by a good deal of over-anxiousness early in the ball game. That hurt the Argonaut cause as well.
And the fumble down on the 1-yard line when the Argonauts had those 3 cracks from the 2-yard line, only trailing by 7 points.
Allison with time, aims right, and battle for the ball. It is intercepted. The Alouettes thought, and Jim Burrow is really upset, along with Dickie Harris, about it. Randy Rhino in there too. He maintains he had the ball.
Well, there's a lot of complaining going on there.
Well, penalty flag.
They have just got themselves a penalty, which is rather silly at this stage of the ball game. The official has called it as an Argonaut catch. I guess his tie favored the offensive receiver.
Not too many Valentine's cards passed.
Well, Rodney Allison rolling out, trying to hit Slade Willis on the outside, and there was a debate over who did have that ball as they went out of bounds. Number 18, Dickie Harris, coming in front, trying to knock it down. And the question is, who has control of the ball now before they go out of bounds? And it looks like Dickie Harris had it all the way.
He did. That's a strange call. No wonder the Alouettes were upset about it. Then they get the objectionable conduct call for protesting it.
The big question was, did Dickie Harris have control of the ball before he went out of bounds? And they gave it to the Argonauts.
He had it firmly tucked under his arm, like he just bought it, was taking it home. So the Argonauts get a break there. Peter Mueller hauls this one in for a first down around the 43. An advance of 15 yards. Randy Rhino defending with the Montreal tackle.
Coming with the blitz, Carl Cornell getting picked up trying to break through the middle, and Allison did a good job of waiting for Peter Mueller to come open as both Larry Utek and Randy Rhino were trying to stay with him for the 14-yard gain. But Argos did a good job of picking up that blitz for Mueller to make his third reception.
Allison tries to run up into what he thought was an opening, but it was quickly filled in by Alouette defenders, and they nail him for a loss of a couple. Wally Buono was there. Carl Cornell and Gordy Judges to contain him.
Don, I think that was a planned play. It looked like a quarterback draw situation trying to be set up by number 12, Rodney Allison, but the Alouette defenders were all standing there waiting for him.
It was no surprise to them. A minute and 40 seconds remaining now in the second quarter. That's what Allison has done in the passing game today, mostly short passes. Well, now Pump wants to throw a little longer. And on the sidelines, he had the right idea, but Raganola couldn't catch up with the ball. Coverage by Rhino and Dickie Harris. So it'll go to third down and 11, Toronto.
The question is, do they try now to take 7 points or try and get the 3 points to get on the scoreboard?
Ken Clark is coming in. Minute 29 left. Line of scrimmage is the 43.5-yard line. So Clark is going to settle back into punting formation.
You might watch for a fake or something here as well.
Be the spot for it.
Not this time.
He goes the conventional route. Coming down to Rhino, 5 yards deep. He says, sure, I'll give you a point. Somewhat derisively, the Argonaut supporters here cheer that single point. That makes it 17-1. Montreal 17, Toronto 1 with a minute and 21 left, and the Alouettes will take the ball first down from their 35-yard line. I think Rhino knew what to do. He also knew if he didn't concede that point, he'd be hearing from Joe Scannella when he get back to the bench.
Well, I'm sure Scannella makes the decision long before they concede the point. What's going to happen?
You're ahead 17. You might as well be ahead 16 at halftime and not take any chances. Tilio hands to O'Leary, and he got tied up with his own blocker trying to open something for him, Bill Cowwinter. And Doug McIver made the containment after a gain of 1 yard. It'll be second down and make it one. Almost half a yard was the gain, really. A minute 17 remaining now. The Alouettes not as spectacular under DeTilio as they were under Joe Barnes earlier, and nonetheless still very much in control here. Barnes, as we told you, is in the dressing room, as Tom suggested, perhaps getting a brace fitted, likely for further medical evaluation. Ken Starch is turned back short of the 40-yard line. Rick Rosano and Kent Carter containing him with 56 seconds remaining until halftime now.
2 on the play makes it 3rd down and 7.
The game certainly has slowed down, Don, since Barnes left, and neither team has been able to put too much together.
Barnes, when he was in there, looked like the Joe Barnes that led the Alouettes to those 7 consecutive season-opening wins last year, if you recall. Sprinting out and making everything happen.
And putting a lot of pressure on the defense.
Metcalf's back with Bennett between the 20 and 25 for this punt from Morley Buono. You have to move up this time. Metcalf around the 32. Does a little dance, and then down he goes near the 39-yard line. And the Argonauts have 28 seconds of playing time remaining in the half. Ken Starch tackled Terry Metcalf with a 7-yard return.
Return of 6 yards, puts the ball on the Argonaut 39-yard line. It's 1st and 10, Toronto.
So from the 39, the Argonauts will get a couple of plays, perhaps, as they trail 17-1. Willis heading right. Dwight Edwards, they haven't found him today, the deep threat on the left side. Number 29, Buddy Hardiman out there as well. For Hardiman, good catch. Hangs on to it at the Montreal 49, out of bounds to stop the clock with 23 seconds remaining.
Buddy Hardiman, number 29, originally from Iowa University. He hasn't played the slot back before. He's a running back by trade. This time running out of the slot, ran a good pattern behind the linebacker, maintained control of the ball for a 22-yard gain. Hardiman has been moving back to that running back spot occasionally with Metcalf, number 21, playing the slot.
Another sideline pattern there. No catch. Edwards was knocked down when he got the ball. The feet were not in bounds. So 18 seconds remain now as Allison would like to work the Argonauts in for at least a field goal attempt before the half ends.
I'm not sure that Edwards, if he'd maintained his balance, could not have caught that ball and come down with 1 foot in bounds, which is required in Canadian football.
He's the young man who had played only high school football in Mississauga before coming to the Argonauts. They go deep for him. Oh, take it away, and a good defensive play at the last moment by Jim Burrow. Back there with Randy Rhino covering, and now 13 seconds remain. Argonauts are going to 3rd down and 10. Edwards was looking, reaching up, fully expecting to have that ball right in his hands until Burrow appeared.
Well, number 64, Glenn Weir, who was the East outstanding lineman last year defensively, taking a pretty good shot from number 57, Ralph Hill, who's moved in as that offensive guard, having started the first half of the season as the offensive center, and he had him strung out there very effectively.
It's hard to walk that way when your neck's being pushed back.
Lots of time.
Allison got a strike to Peter Mueller. Mueller down with 5 seconds remaining at the 33-yard line.
Well, important completion. It does move the men close enough to try that field goal. And Ian Sutter coming in, having not been very successful with his field goals in the latter couple of ball games.
That was a 16-yard gain on that completion.
From the end zone, Rodney Allison rolling to the right a little bit, comes back over the middle, looking for Peter Mueller, and had plenty of time as the Alouette front four didn't put any rush on.
Sutter is 13 for 20 on the year. This will come from the 40-yard line. He's wide. Ian Mofford not willing to give up a single point as Rhino was before him. That surprises me a little bit, Russ.
Well, with the last play of the half, I'm sure he felt that he'd like to try and get out and not give the single point up. They wouldn't start deep in their own zone, such as would have been with Rhino.
But if he fumbles on that last play and the Argonauts recover, it's a touchdown no matter how you look at it. And so at the end of the first half, the score, Montreal Alouettes 17 and the Toronto Argonauts 2.
An old soldier should never rust away. Not when you've got Trem-Clad rust paint to dress up metal that gets rusty and crusty.
So in practically no time, he's bright and shining again. No wonder Tremclad is Canada's #1 selling rust paint.
Nobody's got it like Pontiac's got it.
No wonder the sales success of full-size Pontiac continues. Compare this luxurious Parisienne for integrity, quality, and distinction. Try to equal Parisienne's blend of grace and creature comforts, all at a Pontiac price.
You got it, Pontiac.
Nobody's got it like Pontiac. Pontiac's got it.
Quarterly Report, a CBC special with Barbara Frum.
They are the original people of Canada, Indian, Métis, and Inuit. There are over 1 million of them, and today they are looking for a new deal. They call themselves the people of this land.
A CBC special on Quarterly Report.
Tonight at 9:30, 10 in Newfoundland.
Grandstand Quarterback is brought to you by Sony of Canada Limited, manufacturers of quality home entertainment products.
The thing you'll notice about this new Sony K-Series stereo cassette deck is the liquid crystal peak program meter. Super accurate sound measurements. But you'll find when you visit your Sony dealer, the most noticeable thing about the new K-Series stereo cassette decks is the Super Sony sound. K-Series cassette decks. They're Sony.
Everybody likes to second-guess a quarterback, and on today's edition of Grandstand Quarterback, we're going to see if you would second-guess Don Getty for what he did in the 1956 Grey Cup game. And Don, looking back, way back in 1956, this was the third in a series of games against Montreal. The Eskimos were having a tough time with a good football team. How much do you remember about the 56 Grey Cup game?
Well, I remember the game very well, Ernie. I don't remember all the individual play sequences, but I certainly remember the game because it was such a highlight for me. I didn't know up until just before the game that I was going to be playing quarterback. And when Pop Ivy told me, of course, it made it quite an exciting time for me.
Were you nervous?
I guess I was nervous for the kickoff, but after that, there was just too much to do and think about. We had a new offense we put in only 2 days before the game, and that really kept us all concentrated.
All right, let's go back to the second quarter now. You're trailing by a score of 7-6. It's a whale of a football game. And let's see, there's a punt situation here, so why don't we flip on that projector and see what's happening.
Okay.
Sam Echeverry is punting for the Alouettes, and he gets away a short punt here. Up to about the 31, it goes out. So the Eskimos have first down and in scoring position, and Don's at quarterback.
You notice, Ernie, we're going on the quick count here because Montreal tried to adjust to our sets, and we didn't want to give them time to.
He gave it to Parker, and then Bright, and then Kwong got a first down right there.
Right, underneath everybody. There's Normie faking, and a pitch out to John. He goes behind Art Walker and Roger Nelson for a good game.
Johnny Bright was a big tank. Good play here to Jackie Parker.
Yeah, this is a reverse to Jack and going against the flow, and he runs it really well down to the 1-yard line.
And then you snuck it for the touchdown, and the Eskimos were in the lead by a score of 12-7. But they came roaring back, and they took the lead again 14-12. But the Eskimos weren't really worried at that time, were they? They had a plan against Montreal.
That's right, Ernie. We had the feeling that if we could stay close at halftime, particularly in these Grey Cups with Montreal, that we could beat them in the second half. We felt that we were in better conditions, and over the full game, we could beat them.
All right, after they took the lead 14-12, there was another punting situation, so let's pick it up there. With time running out in the second quarter, Echeverry punts again, this time to Steve Mendrick on the Edmonton 34, so it's first down.
Yes, and this is a new series we put in of the double lateral with Roley and Jackie, and they ran that beautifully against Montreal. Here I'm throwing to Rolly Miles after faking to Normie Kwong, and Rolly makes a great catch and run.
19 yards on that play. Then you went for 16 on this one.
Right, you could run inside to the left, and we had to run outside to the right because of the Montreal personnel.
You ran Johnny Bright again here.
Right.
So you got 4 more.
We're in a hurry to score before the half here, and here I'm faking to Bright. And watch Hugo, he shoots. Makes me throw the ball quickly, and Jack adjusts to it and catches it without seeing me throw it.
So you had the lead. Now, the third quarter starts off with a bang as Rolly Miles fumbles that kickoff on his 14, but then, well, he recovers. On the next play, though, there's a fumble by Johnny Bright.
Right, Doug McNichol stands up the interference and knocks the ball loose, and Montreal recovers. We're in trouble because it's on our 16-yard line.
That's Pat Abruzzi, or Bob Pascal there, and then Pat Abruzzi.
We had a lot of respect for Abruzzi. He's a fine football player.
Hard hitter. Now he takes it down there for 3 more yards.
Oscar Cougar stops him there.
So pitch out to Bob James.
Makes a nice run. He just gets stopped about on the 1-inch line. Of course, they move it out to the 1-yard line.
And quarterbacks love to sneak that ball, don't they?
Pretty sure way of getting that last yard.
Okay, the Eskimos pick up a single point, so it's 20-20. Midway through the third, Joey Powell goes back to field a punt on his 20-yard line. He fumbles it. Mike Kamek recovers on the Montreal 19.
He had to run a long way to get that punt. That was Parker kicking. He kicks him short.
Okay, so Normie Kwong goes for 3 yards. It's up to the 16. So the question is now, with time running out, second down, there's 7 yards to go. What are you going to do? Are you going to run it up the middle, say, with Johnny Bright, who's a power back? Are you going to run it around the end with Jackie Parker? Or are you going to throw? It's a very difficult choice. But here are the options. Do you run it up the middle? Do you run it around the end? Or do you pass? Don, flip that on. Let's see what you did.
Okay, Ernie. Well, Ernie, we could run outside to the right, behind Roger Nelson's blocking. And I pitched to Johnny Bright. And they were expecting a pass, I think, and Johnny went all the way for a touchdown, and that really turned the game around.
That gave you the lead, 27-20. You went on to win 50-27. But the game wasn't really that lopsided, was it?
No, it wasn't, Ernie. That big spread came late in the game. Most people think back to that game as being one-sided. It wasn't. As you've just seen, it was tied late in the third quarter, and it was a tough football game. We pulled away very late in the game.
Don, you're a young 45 years of age. You're the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy for the province of Alberta. You still maintain a heavy interest in the game?
Yes, I have 4 boys who are all interested in football, and many of my friends are involved with football. So I really do. I was on the directors of the Eskimos for a while. I left it when I became involved in politics, but I go to all the games I can, and I really enjoy it.
Any quarterbacks among the boys?
I think I'm going to have 1, perhaps 2. Ernie, I would like to see one of them try it.
Thanks very much for being with us, Don.
You're welcome.
That was our second show in a series that will be with us for the rest of the season called Grandstand Quarterback. Our guest next week is Don Jonas.
Grandstand Quarterback is brought to you by Sony of Canada Limited, manufacturers of quality home entertainment products.
So our old partner Don Jonas coming up. At halftime here, Montreal leads 17-2 over the Argonauts. Highlights with Russ Jackson in just a moment.
Tires, please. What kind of tires, sir? Oh, just ordinary tires. Sorry, sir, we don't have just ordinary tires. We only have Michelin. Okay, I'll take an ordinary Michelin. No. Why not? They don't make ordinary Michelin. They only make the best kind. Costs $1 zillion, bet ya. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Michelin. We only make the best kind, yet our price could be a nice surprise.
The price is a nice surprise. So is your helper.
The challenge of the unknown. Some men go out of their way to find it. But one thing they won't take a chance on is the way they look. So they use Brill Cream. Brill Cream conditions hair, keeps it looking healthy, natural. Keeps you confident you're looking your best. Brill Cream, for men who'll take a chance on just about anything but the way they look.
The one to watch, one to see the CBC this fall. The one that glows with all the shows. The CBC this fall.
Sunday nights, the entertainment begins when Bruno Gerussi stars in an exciting new season of the West Coast adventure, The Beachcombers. Then the world we inhabit and our relationship to life and the universe is explored on The Nature of Things. Mary's back. Mary Tyler Moore stars in a brand new hour, comedy, variety, and music, followed by Side Street and its fourth exciting season starring Donnelly Rhodes and Jonathan Welch. Joan Watson and co-host Bill Paul deal with consumer affairs on Marketplace. And Robert Cooper, as the Ombudsman, looks for answers, remedies, and solutions to your problems.
The CBC this fall.
Entertainment begins with The Beachcombers starting Sunday, September 17th.
Well, there's no question, Russ Jackson, the first half belonged to the Montreal Alouettes. Joe Barnes looked to be in fine condition, came on and made things happen until he was injured.
Well, Joe was able to roll out. They gave him good protection, but he also was able to get outside himself. And when he rolled out, there was no pressure from the Toronto defense. And the first touchdown they scored was from a rollout action. Little fake into the middle to one of the running backs. And at this stage, Brock Ainsley is so wide open back there, he's yelling and screaming. Barnes finally pulled up, looking like he may run with the ball, and finally just dumped the ball into the end zone to Brock Ainsley for the first touchdown. And that's one thing they've been able to do so far. They've been able to sprint out, and the Toronto defense hasn't put any pressure on them.
The Argonauts didn't have many bright moments. There were a couple defensively. One certainly that Paul Bennett provided with his tight coverage on Peter De La Riva.
Well, they had good protection. We mentioned that Barnes and Attilio were getting good protection, and Barnes had excellent protection on this particular play. Both outside rushers were moved behind him. He moved into the pocket, and he appeared not to see Bennett. He thought he could throw it to De La Riva, didn't throw it that well. Bennett was in perfect position, stepped in front of De La Riva, and picked it off and ran it into the 3-yard line. And on 3rd and 1 situation, they had 3 cracks from this particular situation. On the 3rd and 1 situation, they tried to go to number 24, Brad Ginola, and it was number 21, Randy Rhino, along with the center of that defensive line, who caused the fumble here. Rhino stuck his nose in there. The ball popped up in the air. Larry Utek fought Chuck Ely for it on the 2-yard line, and Chuck Zapek picked up the fumble, carried it downfield, lateral to Jim Burrow, and this was a big turnover because at that time, the score was 7-0 for the Montreal Alouettes. If Toronto scores, they tie the ball game. And it was shortly after this, after the big turnover, the Montreal Alouettes really put a cruncher on the Argonauts because they took it right in from that fumble recovery on their own 1-yard line, where Joe Barnes hit Gaddis in the end zone for the second touchdown. And looking at this play again, as we see Gaddis catch it, you wonder how Joe Barnes got hurt. That was the play he got decked on, and there didn't seem to be an Alouette anywhere around him that should have hit him.
And to this point, he has not returned. It's been all to Attilio. Well, we'll be back with the second half in just a moment.
A CBC season premiere. Side Street, the action-packed police drama, returns to CBC for a 4th exciting season starring Donnelly Rhodes and Jonathan Welch.
Next, teller.
Hey, don't involve me, okay?
Hey, don't deal yourself out.
CBC, the one to watch this fall with the season premiere of Side Street, Sunday, September 24th.
Major League Baseball 78, and you can watch both the Montreal Expos and the Toronto Blue Jays as CBC television crews bring you all the action, the highlights of the replays. The Expos and the Blue Jays. Major League Baseball 78 on CBC.
Wednesday night, the Montreal Expos are at New York Shea Stadium. Check listings for time in your area.
Jared Attilio will be starting this 3rd quarter for the Montreal Alouettes. We have received word that Joe Barnes is still in the Montreal locker room and has not emerged from it. As we suggested earlier, perhaps they were going to put a brace on. Then the medical staff got a chance to evaluate the knee further, and Barnes could well be through for the day, although we do not know that as yet for a fact. The first half, all Montreal. The Argonauts getting very heavily hit with penalties. 9 calls against them, against 2 for Montreal. And the net offense of 151 against 94 as the Argonauts with Rodney Allison picked up a few yards in the 2nd quarter. It appeared as though The Argos almost threw up their hands in despair with Chuck Ely when he couldn't get the team in from the 3 or 2 yard line on 3 separate cracks. Allison came on to quarterback from that point on.
One of the important things, Don, looking at those statistics, is the fact that at the end of that first quarter, the Argonauts only had 1 yard net total offense, and they have outgained the Alouettes in that second quarter after Joe Barnes was lost to the Alouette Football Club.
But all they have is a pair of single points, and it's 17-2. As Joe Scannella has some very explicit instructions for DeTilio, as now Chuck Ely warms up. We may see Chuck in this third quarter for Toronto. There's Don Sweet, provided Montreal with the field goal to go with their 2 touchdowns for a 17-2 lead. Getting set to kick off to Bennett and Terry Metcalf. Paul Bennett has it. I'll tell you, he was not far away from getting completely into the clear. Brought it back 38 yards across the 40-yard line. The Argos start from around the 42, and Don Sweet, the kicker, made the tackle.
Well, this is the type of play the Argonauts need to pull them together. They've got to get the big offensive plays going as well as these kickoff and punt returns. And Don Sweet was the last one who had a chance to pull Bennett down. If he hadn't slowed him down, as you say, Don, he might have turned into a big one.
Allison remains at quarterback. 8 for 13 the first half. Hands to Braganola. And he shoulders Burrow, and Harris goes out of bounds.
Chuck, what's the situation? You seem to be favoring your right shoulder.
Well, I just when they recovered the fumble and tried to make the tackle, just sort of stretched one of the muscles in there a little bit, and it seems to be all right. The doctors give me the okay, but whenever they're ready to put me back in, if I haven't needed it, then they're going to put me back in.
What do you have to do to crack this Montreal defense?
Well, I think we just have to run some of our patterns a little better and just get the ball in there. I think we got everything. The Lions give us some protection on the drop back, and we didn't open up some holes in our running game for Metcalf. And once we do that, I think we'll be okay.
Okay, thanks, Chuck.
Well, Metcalf not getting the first down. I think he missed it by about half a yard. Fiatoa, number 55, came in to crunch him down. So it should be third down, although they're going to measure, and a foot or so to go for the Argonauts.
And now you have a decision as the head coach. Coach Cahill, if they don't have the first down, is going to have to make that decision, because if you don't convert this one now and give Montreal that good field position, they can pin you right back for the rest of the quarter. Looks like they're going to go for it.
Leo Cahill hasn't smiled all afternoon. There he is chattering away at the officials. He loves to do that.
He didn't smile too much at the press conference last night either. When asked him whether he was pleased with the football season so far, he said, yes, I'm pleased that I'm still here.
He doesn't smile too much anywhere these days.
Not the last 4 or 5 games.
Just came over here at halftime to see how things were at the Argonaut bench. I tell you, there's a different attitude over here than there is at the Alouette bench, but I guess that goes hand in hand with being ahead or being behind. But they're really grumpy here.
Stand clear, Tom.
Draganola hits for the first down and then some. Then lost the football, and Wally Bono has it for Montreal. They finally make the big play they had to make, and again luck goes against them.
Well, Braganola breaking off that right tackle had the first down, and what can often happen on a short yardage situation with everybody so close to the line, if you break through that initial wall, you sometimes can crack it for a long way. But Jim Burrow, number 16, came across, made the tackle, and Buono jumped on it, and after the play, UTEC went and tapped Braganola. A little one-upsmanship.
He was caught changing hands with that ball. They knocked it loose. First down, Montreal. Is John O'Leary out to the 40-yard line for about 3. Elton Brown, number 63, made the tackle. They're trying to cheer up Braganola now.
Boy, there were some bad words down here as well between Rodney Allison and Chuck Dickerson. That's not a good sign in a football team.
Don't know why he could fault Allison.
I'm not sure who was faulting who. I stay out of that one. They were not kissing cousins, let me put it that way.
Detilio getting out of the jam. Get a block. He's pointing for De La Riva to throw a block. De La Riva cut inside instead. He didn't need it. He's all the way to a first down up around the 50-yard line.
From the end zone, playing quarterback yourself, Jerry Detilio going to the right. The blitz was on. They had some pretty good pressure on Detilio, but he got to the outside to the left. He's pointing to De La Riva to pick up number 26, Ike Thomas. But instead, De La Riva, see what was coming up from behind Jerry. He couldn't see. He didn't have eyes back there, and he was protecting his back. Jerry did get the first down with his first run of the day.
I think Scannella was swallowing hard, too. Doesn't have that many quarterbacks around.
Like none behind Detilio.
Starts the ball carrier.
Tom, you may have to suit up. Sorry, Don.
I don't think they're quite that desperate, but you never know.
In a 5, second and 5.
How's that go?
Doug Payton has been activated now as the import in place of Joe Barnes, out with the injury. This is 2nd and 5. O'Leary had no opening to begin with, and what he did get was filled in quickly. Rosano and Elton Brown.
On the tackle.
I'll tell you, those two have been in on the lion's share of the Argonaut defensive plays today.
Don, one of the interesting situations with Doug Payton, number 61, who was the designated import, being activated for Joe Barnes. That means that Joe Barnes cannot play in this ball game for the rest of the afternoon. So you can bet every time Detilio has that ball in his hands that Coach Scannella is going to have a lump in his throat.
I guess if they ever got down to having to use somebody, Larry Smith would be the logical one, wouldn't he?
I think so. He has played some quarterback.
Well, I don't think he's done very much with the Alouettes this season in that capacity of practice. 3rd down and 2.5. Wano punts it away to Paul Bennett. Ian Mofford is there to drag him down short of the 25-yard line after a 38-yard punt, an 8-yard return. And so Detilio leaves, and Rodney Allison comes on now. The Argonauts get the ball back in a 17-2 ball game.
Oldsmobile has a great new surprise package for you. A package that comes with super stock wheels, sport mirrors, and its own distinctive paint treatment. It's a new two-tone Olds Special Edition Cutlass, and it's available in white with your choice of 4 exciting metallic accent colors. See and drive the Olds Special Edition Cutlass at your Oldsmobile dealers and discover the great Cutlass feeling. Can we build one for you?
Atwood, Ontario, where Shell did a study on home heat. Different types of homes, a variety of heating problems that insulation alone couldn't solve, like improper heat distribution, furnaces that needed servicing, and faulty caulking around windows. The result, the Shell Home Heat Book. It's full of tips on how you can keep your home comfortable and cut down on heating costs. One in a series of helpful books, free, from Shell. Shell helps.
Joe Scannella took advantage of that break to sit down with Jerry Detilio and go over a few things with him for the next series of plays the Alouettes will have. But right now, their defense has to win the ball back from the Argonauts.
360. Ready.
Well, they try to get Terry Metcalf loose that way and can't do it. Glenn Weir read that properly. He just came right in to meet him. There's Weir, number 64. Well, Tom, at halftime, we saw the grandstand quarterbacks, and of course, that'll be a regular feature on our football telecast throughout the season.
Yeah, we invite our viewers across the country to go along to the sponsors dealer, pick up an entry form, try to second guess these guys that have played such terrific ball for the CFL down through the years. You know, it's 9 years since that fella up beside you played. 9 years.
Allison under pressure on Rhodes. The ball is fumbled by Edwards, but it appears he got it back, and we'll have a first down at the 36-yard line.
Well, that's twice this afternoon that Edwards has jumped to catch that ball. Once he jumped and ended up out of bounds, and it was no reception. Here, there was no reason to jump for it. He was all alone as he came across here. Dickie Harris got lost and slipped a little bit, and he really didn't have to jump to make that reception. Then he carries it out there like a loaf of bread right here. You got to tuck that ball in because these guys are pros. They're going to take it away from you. This isn't high school ball in Mississauga.
Looks like Harris just stripped him right there. So
Argos got further problems. Terry Metcalf coming to the bench. In the last offensive sequence, he strained his left knee. They taped it up, but he's come off the field again.
Argonauts got out around the 40-yard line for a gain of 3 to 4 as they go to work on Terry Metcalf. Lapa and Cordell made the Montreal tackles. Metcalf has taken a lot of wicked shots in open field situations.
Well, isolation on Edwards from that last play. You saw that Harris and he were getting back at each other, and Harris might want a little rest tomorrow.
Go, 391! 91!
For Willis, he comes back for it, makes the catch, is out of bounds, but should have a first down. Up around the 48-yard line, Wayne Crump defending for Montreal. Playing in place of the injured Tony Proudfoot, broke his left arm against the BC Lions a couple of weeks ago.
Well, Slade Willis has come into his own this year with the Argonaut Football Club. He was not recognized as a prime receiver, but this year playing that wide spot with the Argonauts has been one of their leading lights.
And the medics over here at the Argonaut bench taking a look, probing around on that left knee of Terry Metcalf. Obviously, it's on the inside there. He says it doesn't feel as if the pain is too deep. What that means, I don't really know.
There's a reverse.
Edwards. And the speedster gets out of bounds around the 54-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 6. Dwayne Crump forced him out. He was the one man that they couldn't block out over on that side.
Started out like a pretty good play. He had 4 blockers out in front of him. Crump just crept around the outside of them and pushed him out of bounds. Little pitch to Hardiman, who hands off to Edwards coming around the other way, and he had plenty of artillery out in front of him. There they all are, and if he turned it back inside, maybe gone with them, Crump might not have had the shot at him.
It is 2nd and 4.
360.
Allison will keep, but does not get the first down. Just across midfield of the Montreal 54. He'll miss it by a yard or so.
He actually pitched that ball to number 29, Buddy Hardiman, and that was a dangerous play as he was going down right on the sideline.
So it's 3rd down and 1. And the play is coming up in a moment. The score is 17-2 Montreal. Canadian Professional Football returns in just a moment.
In Nicaragua, sporadic fighting continues as rebels step up their attempt to topple the 40-year-old family dynasty of President Anastasio Somoza. The news magazine team has been in the Central American Republic for the past week. Their film report on the steps that put the nation under siege and brought Somoza to the brink of disaster will be seen on News Magazine, Monday night at 10 o'clock.
Back with you from Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, midway in the 3rd quarter. Montreal's halftime lead of 17-2 still stands. The Argonauts are gambling, 3rd and 1. Looks as though they might have it. Allison keeping it on 3rd down.
And Allison is limping a little bit as he goes back to the huddle.
Well, that's the kind of meat grinder you want to keep your quarterback away from, ideally. It paid off in this sense. They got a first down. There's Joe Barnes all through for this day, back with his teammates at the Montreal bench. Strictly a spectator now.
Well, Cornell, the middle linebacker, takes a pretty good shot at Allison, and he hit him pretty good head on. And they're trying to steal that ball, I think.
You know they are. Allison slipping, and then put down for good by Gordon Judges.
On Allison.
That field still has to be a little bit slick in places from a pretty substantial rain it received this morning. Barnes with that left leg, the knee, all packed up. Still not moving very well.
He's had a couple of tough years with injuries in the CFL.
Shoulder separation and 2 separate hand injuries, and now this.
Well,
Terry
they're still
Metcalf
working
on the Argonaut bench.
At the Argonaut bench. They're still working on Terry Metcalf. They're all grouped around now. This is all very secretive, you see. They don't want us to know that he's injured, so they're trying to block off our view of Metcalf. We all know where he hurt his knee. They don't know what happened inside it yet.
There was an alert play by quarterback Allison, who had the ball batted down by Clifton Alapa. Thought Alapa might go for the interception, turned past defender and knocked it away.
Well, that's 2 screen passes that Rodney Allison has tried this afternoon, and both of them have been tipped away by Clifton Alapa, number 70. That time almost coming up with the ball himself.
3rd down and 20 to go. Toronto. Here's Ken Clark, averaging 51. His 7th punt of the day. Another good one. Down to Rhino. And this time they're going to contain Randy Rhino, Montreal's most dangerous punt return man, around the 19-yard line. Buddy Hardiman got there along with Doug Riddle.
You think the Argonauts got trouble? How about those Boston Red Sox? We just received a score, and the Yankees leading the Boston Red Sox 6-0. They should be in the 5th inning now.
So the Red Sox didn't get lucky. It did not rain today at Fenway Park. Football reply. We invite you to send your questions in. We'll endeavor to get the answers for you. Questions about the CFL, of officials, players, management, what have you. Football reply, CBC. Ken Starch out around the 25, has 5 yards, maybe 6. We have 5.5 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. Smith and Rosano defending for the Argonauts. But the Red Sox lose that ball game. It appears they might. They'll be in a dead heat with the Yankees, tied for the American League East. Losing 4, if they should not win this one today, in a row by pretty lopsided scores.
And as we said last night, Don, that opens the door for the Toronto Blue Jays to be real giant killers. They could decide very well who's going to be the pennant winner.
Attilio flares it out to Bob Gaddis, gets a good block there and gets up to about the 34-yard line. That'll be a 1st down, a gain of 8. Dave Thomas catching up with the speedster Bob Gaddis.
Okay, we have Peyton going out on Rick Rosano and gets a pretty good block on him. He didn't like sitting on the bench, I guess, as the designated import, but it's important that Montreal gets something going here, Don. They must get the ball moving. I thought the Toronto offense is starting to do a little bit more in this half, and Jerry D'Attilio has to throw that ball a little bit.
He's 2 for 5 right now. Gives the ball to Ken Starch. Again, straight ahead. And Starch gets up around the 38. A gain of roughly 4 yards. Bruce Smith and Wayne Smith there to defend. And we acknowledge that welcome on the Exhibition Stadium scoreboard here in Toronto to our crew this afternoon. 17-2, the Alouettes lead. That's the way it has been since the 3rd quarter started. Just under 4 minutes of 3rd quarter playing time remaining now as Gaddis heads left. Larry Smith and Brock Ainsley coming right. Starch and O'Leary lined up behind the quarterback, Jerry D'Attilio. For Della Riva, cut down immediately by Paul Bennett, but not before he picked up 17 yards and a 1st down.
Well, interesting situation out there with Wayne Smith, number 77, and Dan Yoakum, the offensive tackle, number 67. A couple of big ones. They had arms around each other as they're walking back after Della Riva caught that pass, and they've had a lot more than arms around each other at various times through the years they've played against each other.
The ball between the 51 and the 52 of Montreal. Here's Starch. Very effective today. Ken Starch running inside, slanting right across center field around the 53-yard line. That'll be good for a gain of 5 yards. So with 3 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, there's the score, and we'll be right back.
I'm an
The American Indian has always respected the eagle, its strength, its freedom to sail, to soar, master of the sky. To fly like the eagle is no longer a dream. To fly to the lands of the Native American or anywhere else in the world on a Boeing 747. The world's favorite way to fly.
Every time you mix a drink, you've got an 80% chance of doing a good job. See this? 4/5 of your drink is mixer. And no matter what you're mixing it with, that 4/5 is going to make or break the taste of your drink. That's why you should be using Canada Dry mixers for every drink you make. Because it's no secret Canada Dry makes better mixers. So don't take chances with taste. You can't lose when you use Canada Dry mixers. Anytime, all the time.
The Montreal Alouettes hoping to convert this second down play and let this drive continue from the Toronto 53.5-yard line. Their second down and about 5. There's the man who's come on to quarterback them since the injury to Joe Barnes, Jerry DiTilio. Steps up away from the pressure but can't beat them all. They have him down. DiTilio hit by Rick Sovieta and Kent Carter. In the sack back at the 50-yard line, so it's going to be 3rd down and 12. And an Argonaut late getting up is Wayne Smith, injured on that play. There he is.
Well, the sprint out that the Owls were so successful with in the first half on that particular play when DiTilio tried to get to the outside, there was a little pressure came on as Rick Sovieta and the middle linebacker Rosano came on, and you have to do that to cut him off at the pass. It's number 73 Sovieta that turned him back to the inside and allowed Rosano to put a 6-yard loss on Jerry DiTilio. And Wayne Smith, number 77, is still on the ground, having been hurt on that last play.
Looks like Smith makes his way across field slowly. Remind you that on Saturday on the CBC Sports Special, we'll have competitive whitewater canoeing from Jonquière, Quebec. The challenge of man against river on whitewater canoeing on the CBC Sports Special this Saturday. So we'll await word on Wayne Smith at the Argonaut bench.
He can over and join Terry Metcalf, who's still contemplating what happened to his left knee.
With Metcalf out, Dave Thomas goes back to join Paul Bennett on the Argonaut punt return team. Good kick by Buono. Down to Thomas, 15-yard line. And he's rocked back right there at the 20 by Pat Bonnet.
Did he hit him?
Thomas on the punt return.
So you want to be a punt returner? Well,
Bonnet started at that offensive right guard position and now has always been one of those great specialty men, and he just straightens him up. And I'm sure Dave Thomas is saying, Terry, please get back.
Well, there's the attendance they've just announced. A little over 46,000 here today. Rodney Allison looks one way, then the other way, finds Braganola. Wally Bono's found him. Drags him down around the 18-yard line. That'll be a loss of a yard or two in the play.
Don, I have to think that Wally Buono, number 39, who's playing in his 101st straight game for these Alouettes since 1972, has to be one of the most improved linebackers I've seen over the last 2 or 3 years. He was in and out a lot, never got a chance to play, and now he's getting that full-time opportunity to play and improves to me every time out.
He's a solid football player. Knocked away the pass intended for Dallariva. It was Dwayne Crump, number 27, who cut in front and batted the ball down.
Okay, there the injured Argos. Metcalf tried to walk out whatever's wrong with his left knee, but it didn't work out too well. And then Wayne Smith, of course, and his right ankle is what the problem is there. The upper part right side of his right ankle. So they may cut into that tape and see if they can ease some of that pain, some of the pressure.
All right, there's Harris with Rhino. Back at the 50, Dickie Harris, we told you, will undergo surgery. Correct a torn muscle on his left arm tomorrow, but he's in there today. Here's Rhino. And he takes this one inside the 50-yard line.
Randy Rhino's return.
Bill Norton, number 69, hogging down. After he brought it back 11 yards, and another Argonaut is slow to get up. That is Norton. He's still down. We have 52 seconds remaining in this third quarter. As the Argonauts begin to drop like flies out there. Metcalf, Wayne Smith, and now Bill Norton.
Well, Randy Rhino, who has just turned out to be an excellent punt return man, looks like he has nowhere to go here, but puts on the brakes. The two Argonaut players go by him, and he has that acceleration, and that's what makes a good punt return man. And number 18, Dickie Harris, helping him out, making sure he's covering him up. And in that pileup, Bill Norton, number 69, went down and is still down on the ground.
Meanwhile, we get a little entertainment here at Exhibition Stadium. Well, enjoy those scenes while you can. The cold weather's coming. Girls won't always be dressed that lightly.
No.
As Randy Rhino has done a good job in punt returns. He leads, of course, the East, as you see, and it was that tackle on him that Norton tried to apply that created the injury, and now he'll get assistance to leave the field.
You were talking about Wale Bono, Russ, a little while ago there. This year, he had to come in here, of course, for Sonny Way to do the punting. He's averaged 43.7 yards per punt. It's 38.3 starting this season.
You have to appreciate that, Tom, because as a linebacker, he must have a lot of hurts. I'm sure he has a lot of muscle problems in his legs, getting hit all the time and blocked, and he can still go out and have that respectable average. Is a credit to him.
Russ, the Argonauts now with Wayne Smith's injuries, you see Norton leave, are missing both their regular defensive ends.
Norton, I think, is favoring his left leg, or yes, his left leg or ankle, and so the left legs are leading the right legs in injuries 2-1 here.
That's too far for Bob Gaddis. Even with his speed, he couldn't catch up under triple coverage. Bruce Smith is playing a defensive end for Wayne Smith now. Elton Brown is the other defensive end in Jim Corrigal's normal spot. There's the picture of total offense. Still a big edge for Montreal in this game, although Rodney Allison certainly has brought the Argonauts back to a more respectable total. After under Chuck Ely, they only 1 yard in total offense in the first quarter. 30 seconds to go in the third quarter now. Montreal leading 17-2. We've had no scoring in this quarter. It's going to be second down and 10 from the Toronto 49. A fake to O'Leary. Tilio unloads. Wide open is Bob Gaddis. Look out. Goodbye. Touchdown.
Well, that was the same play that they sacked Attilio on. Little fake into the line. This time the linebacker did not come and put any pressure on. Allowed him to get to the outside as they strung Bruce Smith out. And he allowed Gaddis to get downfield. But little fake to O'Leary. On the last play, they brought the linebacker and put the pressure on. Here they didn't have the linebacker. Allowed him to get out there and get set. And he was all alone in behind that defensive backfield with Ike Thomas, the only one who had the chance to stop him before he went the 49 yards for the touchdown.
So Gaddis is now hauled in 6 for 150 yards this afternoon. And it's 23-2, and Don Sweet will endeavor to make it a 24-2 score. Tilio finally connecting on the explosive touchdown play with Bob Gaddis. There's the extra point through by Sweet. Montreal in possession of a 24-2 lead here, as you'll see it again.
Well, Tilio getting just a little bit of pressure at the end from Doug McIver, 42, but the secret was he was able to go outside and string the defense, and Gaddis had gone down that left side, came back over the middle, and got in behind the defensive secondary. McIver, number 42, sorry, Don, who's in there now playing full time with all the injuries, takes on Yoakum, number 67, to start it, but then he puts the pressure on, but Tilio had got the pass away.
He's at defensive tackle where Smith was before he moved to the end to replace Wayne Smith. 4 seconds remaining in the quarter. Dwight Edwards has gone back with Paul Bennett on this kickoff return combination.
There's the man who scored 2 touchdowns today, both on passes, one from Joe Barnes and the second one 49 yards from Jerry Tilio. And last year, Don, when he first came in, we kept saying he's got great speed, and they weren't getting the ball to him a great deal of the time. And this year, they're getting the ball to those outside receivers a lot more, and he and Brock Ainsley have been doing a lot of damage on the deep patterns for the Alouettes.
That's the longest completion for Gaddis of the year and represents his 3rd touchdown. The kickoff to Paul Bennett, 15-yard line. Crossfield he goes. And he slipped. Got 5 yards out of it. Ran about 50 to get them. And he's down to the 20-yard line.
Well, it almost looked like the kickoff return was going to go to the right, and that was the way they wanted it to go.
So the gun sounds, and at the end of the 3rd quarter, the score. Montreal Alouettes 24, the Toronto Argonauts 2.
For guys like me who love the great smell of Brute, here's a play that goes all the way. First, you hit the shower with Brute 33 shampoo. You pick up protection against wetness with Brute 33 antiperspirant. Cut to the sink, where Brute 33 cream shave chops down even the toughest beards, and get super hair control with Brute 33 hairspray. Go all the way with Brute 33, because when you stay with the great smell of Brute, the great smell of Brute stays with you.
A CBC premiere. Mary's back. Mary Tyler Moore returns to the CBC in a brand new show with a brand new look. Mary's comedy. Mary's variety. Mary's music. Mary's the one to watch for Super Sunday entertainment. CBC's the one to watch with Mary, premiering Sunday, September 24th.
The most beautiful and the most observable animals in the world have been the lifetime fascination of Roger Torrey Peterson, internationally distinguished ornithologist and author of A Field Guide to the Birds. The inspiration of beautiful birds has stimulated all of Roger Peterson's creative life. Roger Torrey Peterson, Portrait of a Bird Watcher, an hour special coming up on The Nature of Things.
Tomorrow night at 8:30 in Newfoundland.
Well, turnovers have been big. The Argonauts have given up 3 of them. 4th quarter underway. From behind, Allison is taken down by Gordon Judges and Glenn Weir. A familiar combination. In the sack for a 6-yard loss.
Well, you play quarterback and you got those defensive linemen coming after you. Allison's trying to get Terry Evanchen free. He's waiting and waiting, hoping that Terry can beat that deep coverage on that right side. And while he was waiting, number 75 got him. Gordon Judges, the veteran defensive tackle with this Montreal Alouette team.
There's how they line up. Judges has had his injury problems the last couple of years, still not completely healthy, but in there to play. The charge on Allison again. They've got him back at the 8-yard line. Again, Gordon Judges. Weir missed him, and his partner Judges nailed him.
That's like saying Weir to Judges. Weir had him. Allison had to dance away from him. And then his Judges and number 75, 2 big plays, and he's got a lot of offense right here for the Montreal Alouettes. But Weir initially put the pressure on. Did a good job of coming in there. Bill Ellenbogen, number 64, tried to pick Weir up, but there was Judges again making the sack, and Allison at the Argo bench, a little upset about what's happening.
He said, "You never warned me about those 2 guys." They're a menace. From the end zone, Ken Clark. Out around the 50-yard line for Rhino. Pokes his way past one, then gets into about the 44. Before he was hauled down by Jim Marshall. Brought it back 7 after a 44-yard punt. So again, the Alouettes go inside the 45-yard line.
1st and 10 at the Argo 44.
With a 24-2 lead. And Chuck Ely may be called upon because Allison has certainly been stopped by Montreal in the second half, despite a promising beginning for him in the second quarter when his short passing game seemed to work for a while.
Work smart.
Ken starts. Beers outside. Runs into Marshall. He gets 4 yards around the 40.
Marshall on the stop. In a 4, 2nd and 6.
We are 2 minutes into the 4th quarter at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. Don Chevrier with Russ Jackson and Tom McKee. Next week, Montreal will be at home to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, while the Argonauts travel west to Winnipeg. The Bombers, miracle workers in that final couple of minutes in Ottawa, pulling out a 31-29 win yesterday.
And against Saskatchewan the week before.
Same score, in fact. Detilio unloads, intercepted by Paul Bennett. Down to the Montreal 43-yard line. Bob Gaddis, with his good speed, came back to take him down. That's his second today. That one, a return of 48 yards for Paul Bennett.
Paul Bennett came out of nowhere on this play. It's the little fake into the line, the play that the Owls have been using a great deal this afternoon. And lots of time for the quarterback, trying to bring the receiver back. Brock Ainsley, and Bennett, number 20, just stepped in front of him, made a good run back, but Gaddis, showing his speed here, pulled him down from behind.
Edwards has it at the 15-yard line. Post pattern curling in, falling, and just had enough left to bring the ball in. Jim Burrow tagged him down.
Well, Rodney Allison throwing this post pattern into the middle, and Edwards made a great catch of it, coming back to get that ball, beating Jim Burrows for a 27-yard gain.
If he isn't jumping, he's falling, this young man, Dwight Edwards. There's Paul Bennett, who made this series of plays possible with his second interception of the day. A fake to Braganola. Then on the corner for Edwards again, and he's got it around the 7-yard line. Again, Burrow defending. They'll give him the 8-yard line. It'll be second down and 3.
And second and 3.
$11 minutes and 15 seconds left. 24-2. Montreal in command here. The Argonauts trying to narrow that gap right now. Edwards, 3 big catches in this game. Aganola runs into Crump. Support from Fiatola from the bottom, and they do not get the first down.
No gain.
It's third down and 3 from the 8.
And other than a couple of runs, the Argonaut offense, as far as their running attack is concerned, has been pretty well stymied by this defense of the Montreal Alouettes. Braganola broke one out on a 3rd and short yardage situation, then fumbled the ball. And Metcalf, when he was attempting to throw the ball, ran for about 12 or 13 yards. Other than that, it's been just 2 and 3 at a time.
There goes 3 yards from a first down, 8 yards from a touchdown. Third down. Braganola fights for it. I'm not sure if he got there. He's close to the 5-yard line. Had to be right on the 5 to get the first down. They go back to the huddle, satisfied they might have made it. So this Argonaut drive will continue, and we'll be right back.
When we do things around here, we do them right. We've got a Black & Decker jigsaw.
Black & Decker jigsaws are easy to work with, and they pay for themselves just about every time they're used. Some models have 2 speeds or variable speed for all kinds of cutting. Fast, precise cutting for work you're proud of.
Sweetheart, how'd you ever cut anything before you got a Black & Decker jigsaw?
Beats me.
Get a Black & Decker jigsaw.
You'll wonder how you ever worked without it.
A CBC season premiere. Side Street, the action-packed police drama, returns to CBC for a 4th exciting season starring Donnelly Rhodes and Jonathan Welch.
Next, Teller.
Hey, don't involve me, okay?
Hey, don't deal yourself out.
CBC, the one to watch this fall with the season premiere of Side Street, Sunday, September 24th.
Well, Braganola going in off tackle here. We thought he had the first down, but they measured while we were away at commercial, and on second effort, he got himself close to that 5-yard line, and they just missed by inches in not getting the first down, and Montreal now takes over on their own 5.
That's twice now inside the 10. The Argonauts have failed to score today, both after interceptions by Paul Bennett. Ken Starch tries to get some running room and has only a yard. He was tracked down by Bennett, by Rick Rosano. 9:40 to play in the game. 24-2. Alouettes in command all the way with 14 first quarter points. A field goal in the second, then this touchdown late in the third quarter by Bob Gaddis, the second of the day. And they're on top 24-2.
There's Joe Barnes. He looks like he's wearing an old-fashioned mini skirt, doesn't he? Surprised he hasn't got any tape or anything on that left knee.
He had it on earlier. He's taking an offset.
Also getting chillier down here.
Ken Starch out across the 10, but short of the first down.
Starch again, the ball carrier.
So the Argonauts should be getting the ball back here as Montreal is going to be third down and 2 to 3 yards. Some fans from Montreal obviously here this afternoon enjoying it a lot more than the people sitting around them.
Ken Starch has been the workhorse of that Montreal Alouette offense, coming with Coach Joe Scannella from Oakland, and certainly has turned out to be a welcome addition, not only running with that ball, but gives them good pass protection. He's carried 6 times for 64 yards in the ballgame.
That's a good point. He's an excellent blocking back, no question of that. Wally Bueno limbers up now for his 8th punt of the afternoon. Metcalf is still out, so it's Dave Thomas back with Paul Bennett at midfield. Low snap to him. No real rush. Gets a low one away that bounds up to Thomas at the 50-yard line. Smith tried to cut him down by backing into him, but couldn't do it. He was finally forced out of bounds to the 38th 3-yard line. An 18-yard run back. We'd like to remind you that coming up on Saturday on CBC's Major League Baseball 78, the Toronto Blue Jays play the Baltimore Orioles at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. So join us this coming Saturday night on Major League Baseball 78. The Orioles not quite yet out of the American League Eastern Pennant race.
Well, the Yankees have made it interesting for a lot of ball clubs.
Well, they've kept Milwaukee alive, too. Just 4 games out right now. Now Allison gets some pressure. Unload, gave the ball away. Wally Bono. Ralph Hill takes him down at the Toronto 42-yard line. Allison, his inexperience showing, turned and just unloaded right to Bono.
Well, he had been sacked a couple of times with Weir and Judge just putting the pressure on. And again, as he's going to the right here, a little fake inside. He's trying to go deep. He's trying to get all at once. Had the pressure coming on him, and there they all were waiting for him. And he just laid it out into the flat, thinking he could find Edwards out there. There was no way. Peter Mueller out there as well, as Bueno just was standing there to take it. And we have that turnaround now that has been the downfall of this particular club this afternoon, and that is Buono's 3rd interception this year.
First down Montreal, the Toronto 42. Alouettes leading 24-2. 8 minutes to play in the game. Detilio going for broke. Way past Bob Gaddis as he was trying to give him the hat trick today in touchdowns. And Marshall runs all the way into an automobile in the end zone. He couldn't slow down in time.
2nd and 10.
Well, Leo Cahill really has to be wondering what is in store for the Argonauts. It appears he is not able to mount this team into a winner again in 1978, heading for their 5th consecutive loss today, and they will now fall 4 points back of Montreal in that race for 2nd place behind the Ottawa Rough Riders, and remain only a point ahead of Hamilton, with the Tiger Cats playing the Eskimos out in Edmonton in just a few minutes.
Oh, good screen.
O'Leary. He tight ropes. They mark him out back at the 34. Kent Carter forced him to touch the sideline and go out around the 34-yard line. Canadian professional football on CBC will return in just a moment.
Make sure to take advantage.
Tires, please. What kind of tires, sir? Oh, just ordinary tires. Sorry, sir, we don't have just ordinary tires. We only have Michelin. Okay, I'll take an ordinary Michelin. No. Why not? They don't make ordinary Michelin. They only make the best kind. Costs $1 zillion, bet ya. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Michelin. We only make the best kind, yet our price could be a nice surprise.
The price is a nice surprise. So is your helper.
Seven minutes and 22 seconds left. The Alouettes are 3rd and 2, and they have Don Sweet in there now, as many in this crowd begin to depart Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. This would give Montreal a 25-point lead. From the 40-yard line, Sweet hits again. His second field goal of the day, and indeed it is. The Alouettes 27, and the Argos 2 with just over 7 minutes left. Another viewing reminder for you as you look out at Lake Ontario, the islands. Hamilton Tiger Cats will be in Montreal at the Olympic Stadium next Sunday. You Montreal fans will want to catch that game, and viewers across the country, I'm sure, will want to watch it as well. We'll have it for you next Sunday right here on CBC Television, Hamilton against Montreal. Argos will go first down from the 35. Without Terry Metcalf for much of this second half. Hardiman lined up with Braganola. Allison at quarterback. The big charge on him. Finds Braganola, but the gain is only a yard. Chuck Zapek there to track him down.
Oh, just a great play by Zapek. He read that screen all the way, trying to get out to Braganola, and Nick Bastaya, number 65, was supposed to block on Zapek, but he just shoved him aside and made the tackle for practically no gain. Allison's going back trying to set this up. This time he's going away from Clifton Alapu, who knocked 2 of them down, but Bastaya gets out on Zapek, and Zapek just runs away from him, and he makes just a great play, so Braganola gets 1 yard.
Allison goes up to Braganola again. Second thought he had after thinking about going deep, and it's incomplete.
And guess who said hello to him as he threw the ball? Number 75, Gordon Judges.
Judges, a former Argonaut way back when. Rodney Allison, 14 for 23 this day, but never really able to sustain a drive. So Rhino will back up with Harris to receive this punt from Ken Clark, former Hamilton Tiger Cat. 5 minutes and 55 seconds to play. To Rhino again. Here he goes, Randy Rhino. Up the far sideline, stepping out of bounds at the 53-yard line. Rhino brought that one back. 38 yards after a 53-yard punt.
Well, they always say your special teams are a sign of how well you are prepared and how well you're going to play in a football game. The Montreal Alouettes have dominated that particular area. Rhino 9 punt returns for 127 yards this afternoon.
That puts him at 503 yards on the season in 40 attempts. (27-2) Montreal very much in control here as they go first down from their own 53-yard line. John O'Leary takes it up halfway to a first down in the area of the Argonaut 52. Bruce Smith there to meet him along with Kent Carter.
Carter on the stop.
Well, you have to wonder about two things in the wake of this game today. Future of Joe Barnes, quarterback for Montreal, and the future of Terry Metcalf, the backfield for the Argonauts, and possibly Wayne Smith too. 2 potentially serious injuries. Fumble. The Argonauts come up with it.
Fumble recovered by Gordon Holt.
Gordon Holt, number 17, was there to scoop it up. So the Argonauts will have a run at things here from the 52-yard line of Montreal. 4.5 minutes to play.
Now, Jerry DiTilio never did get this ball handed off to the potential ball carrier from ground level as he comes out with a reverse pivot, tries to hand that ball to Starch, and it got away from DeTilio before he ever got it to number 32, Ken Starch, bouncing right to number 17, Gordy Knowlton.
Willis slipped on the play, could not bring it in. The 43-yard line. It's going to go to second down and 10 now.
And I would have to think that there has to be more wrong with Chuck Ely than maybe he mentioned to Tom on the bench there. He said that he was having some problems but could play. But Chuck had a lot of problems with his shoulder last year, and Allison certainly has not ignited this offense since he has been in there. And without Chuck coming back in, especially after that last interception he's thrown, he's got to be hurting more than he told Tom.
How many times have you seen a quarterback hurt trying to make a tackle like that? It happens.
That's right.
Allison scampering way back. Fiato's taken out, a good block thrown. The ball tipped right to Wally Bono. Interception, Montreal.
Number 4 for Wally this year. 2 this afternoon. When it rains, it pours, I guess, and there's just nothing that can be done right by this Toronto team. Allison running around in the backfield, getting good protection to start with. He comes back to the left, and Fiatoa, who is chasing him, gets cut down nicely here, allowing him to throw back into the middle. It bounces off the intended receiver right here, Hardeman, number 29.
Hands it to him.
And there is Buono, number 39. Thank you, sir, very much. I'll take it.
At the 54, it is Montreal starting out with 3 minutes and 44 seconds to play, leading 27-2.
5 turnovers that the Toronto Argonauts have had this afternoon.
Turnovers and penalties, certainly in the first half. The ball's free again. Now the Argonauts will get it back. Dave Thomas gathering in that loose ball as nobody seems to want it. Either side of the 55-yard line. Ian Mofford coughing it up that time. Well, let's see who's going to grab this ball next.
DeTilio handing off to Mofford, who's in there now running out of that backfield, number 10, and as he was hit, the ball just went out of his grasp, and there we have it again. Number 15, Jim Marshall on it.
People getting the jump on the trap jams that ensue around Exhibition Stadium with 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Allison fires to Willis. He's got a hit, and he is hit at the 52-yard line. Tackle made by Chuck Zapek. And that's going to limit the gain to about 5 yards. Maybe 6. It'll be second down and 4 with just over 3 minutes left.
Don, straight zone defense with Chuck Zapek playing in that flat area, and Willis came all the way across from the other side, and Zapek tattooed him pretty good as he came across. Willis receiving and managing to hang on to that ball. And again, in a bad position, the Argonauts, and we'll be back with the score 27-2 in just a moment.
All motor oils look alike. They feel alike. On the surface, you can't tell them apart. How can you tell which one is right for your car? Look here, of course, and here. But also look here. Shell Super Multigrade is designed to meet or exceed your car's warranty requirements. So whether you change it yourself or see your Shell dealer, insist on Shell Super Multigrade from the Mileage Company.
A sports special on CBC as Muhammad Ali tries to regain his title from young Leon Spinks. It's being billed as the Battle of New Orleans, with 3 boxing titles going on the same card. And if Ali wins, he'll be the first man to hold the heavyweight title 3 times. It's Championship Boxing on CBC, Friday night at 8 Eastern Time.
Second down, 4 to go. Rodney Allison out of bounds. Edwards could only get one hand on it. It'll be third down and 4 Toronto for the Montreal 51. 2 minutes and 58 seconds remaining, and the Alouettes simply waiting to make this one official with a 27-2 lead. Montreal zeroing in on their 5th win in 9 games, which will leave them 4 points behind the Ottawa Rough Riders. Winnipeg, their defeat of Ottawa yesterday, left it, well, in terms of a bit of a race in the East. It might have been awfully one-sided if the Rough Riders won. It's too far at the 40-yard line. Larry Utek applying the coverage out there on Slade Willis. So turnover goes to Montreal now. The Argonauts in desperation try a 3rd and 4 gamble. There's the story of total offense with Montreal 120 yards better. And on the scoreboard, 25 points better this afternoon.
First and 10 of their 51.
Joe Scanella's got to be pleased. He gives directions to Jerry DiTilio as to how to handle this series of plays with 2:52 left.
But has to be concerned about his quarterback situation, and I'm sure is thinking ahead to Sonny Wade coming back. Sonny told us last week when we were in Montreal that he was hoping possibly to get back for the Hamilton game next week, and I'm sure Coach Scanella is hoping the same.
Well, that'll be a break for them with Barnes obviously out. Ken Starch hits inside again, reaches center field. His advance is going to be about 4 yards. Starch is 69 yards and 15 carries today. There is the time remaining. Starch actually got 5 in that play, so he's halfway to a first down. After the game, we invite you to stay with us. We'll have a lesson on pass receiving by Jenny Meldrum. Conversation with Peter Dalla Riva. Of course, highlights of this afternoon's action. DiTilio getting away from Smith. He lost the ball. Bruce Smith picks it up. First down, Argonauts at the 42-yard line. DiTilio had successfully eluded the Argonauts and seemed to slip and lose the football.
Well, Argonauts coming with their linebackers here did put the pressure on DiTilio. Again, this has been the way they have kept him in the pocket, is when they have brought those linebackers. He did everything but hang on to the ball that time, eluded everybody in a blue uniform that was after him. Finally, number 61, Bruce Smith, who's down on the ground out there, the training staff come out to see him, fell on the ball after he had missed Mr. DiTilio once.
Well, the Argonauts must be running out of defensive linemen now. Wayne Smith down, Bruce Smith finally getting to his feet, coming across field. 2:16 left. It is 27-2 for Montreal. So Hamilton will be in position to move into 3rd place. Although it's a tall order, they have to beat the Eskimos in Edmonton this afternoon. That game is just getting underway out west now. Hardiman hit hard by Cornell and Weir. Ball came loose, and it goes over to the Montreal Alouettes. Coming up with it was number 72, Carl Cornell, the middle linebacker. Got more turnovers than a Dutch bakery here this afternoon.
All right. Hardiman a little upset with himself carrying out of that I backfield spot, and Cornell really straightened him up. He gets a good hit. Weir from behind, but Cornell really drilled him, and the ball did come out, as we saw in that replay, before Hardiman was down, and Cornell was right there to grab it.
Line of scrimmage is the 39-yard line. There is Starch, who has deceiving speed for a big man. He churned in there pretty quickly and got up around the 48. He'll be about a yard away from the first down. 9-yard gain, just over 2 minutes left now. First quarter points for Montreal, a pair of touchdowns, Ainsley and Gaddis, and then a second touchdown by Gaddis in the 3rd quarter, the major scoring story for Montreal. Don Sweets added 2 field goals. The Argonauts confined to a pair of single points. And that will take care of the first down right on the 50-yard line. Once again, Ken Starch, Montreal's top backfield ground gainer on the day. Makes it first down and 10 from the 50-yard line of the Alouettes. He's gained 79 yards this afternoon in 17 carries. Brock Ainsley goes to the right side. Bob Gaddis left. McMahon is up as the tight end opposite Peter Dalla Riva. O'Leary and Starch in the backfield behind DiTilio. And they went once to the well, once too often with Ken Starch that time. The Argonauts had him all taped to the 50-yard line and threw him back. There'll be no gain. John Faubert is in there now at the left defensive tackle spot. Dennis Heim occupied, the newcomer. The Argonauts, well aware they've lost the ball game. Want to give some people some experience now. We have actually gone 4 plays in a row with no fumble, our statistician Doug Kelcher tells me. I think we had fumbles on 3 or 4 plays in a row a while back.
We're just getting even.
Ian Mofford gets through to center field. That's a gain of 5.
Ian Mofford carries for 5.
Paul Bennett there to assist on the tackle. Along with Rick Rosano, the middle linebacker, number 53. We have 52 seconds remaining. 3rd down and 5. So the Alouettes will send in Wally Buono as the Argonauts dispatch Thomas and Paul Bennett back around the 20-yard line. Give the Argonauts one more offensive play or two, and that'll be it. Booms it down to Paul Bennett. And McMahon is hit around the 19-yard line. 23 seconds remaining now. A 41-yard punt by Wally Buono. Jerry DiTilio has certainly been able to get the job done in relief of Joe Barnes. 5 for 10 and 94 yards, sticking mainly on the ground, looking for that big touchdown with Bob Gaddis that gave the Argonauts any thoughts of coming back. Well, it gave them second thoughts about it.
And Don, Joe Barnes was 5 for 9 for 88 yards before he got hurt and threw 2 big touchdown passes, one to Ainsley and one to Gaddis.
23 seconds on the clock. Argonauts scrimmaging from their 19-yard line. And it's complete to Slade Willis. Willis out of bounds at the 50-yard line, so the Argonauts pick up 31 on that play. They have 13 seconds remaining. Trying to strike for one face-saving score if they can.
Well, Allison, number 12, going back, getting a little pressure on him by number 71, Mike Hamillock. Throws it downfield to Willis, and Randy Rhino, who has done everything, comes over and helps Buono push him out of bounds.
Terry Evanshin back in the lineup for this play with 13 seconds remaining. Allison scrambling and shopping for an open man. He'll run the ball, taking it out of bounds at the Montreal 52 with only 2 seconds on the clock.
Allison runs it out of bounds. Gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
And with 2 seconds to go, he's getting last-second instructions as to what to call.
You think it matters? Montreal satisfied with a fine afternoon's work here at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, coming off 2 consecutive losses to Winnipeg and Ottawa, rebounding with a morale-boosting victory over the Argonauts this afternoon. This should be the last play. At the sidelines, it is not away. Wally Buono out there defending, looking for his 3rd interception and almost getting it. And there's the gun. It is all over. Leo Cahill walks away with his team's 5th consecutive loss as Joe Scannella, with his arms around Jerry DiTilio, walks away with a big Alouette victory and moves them to within 4 points of the first-place Ottawa Rough Riders in the CFL East. And each team has played 9 games. The Argonauts left with a record of 3-6, just ahead of Hamilton with a record of 2 wins, 5 losses, and 1 tie. Don't forget, next week, the Alouettes will be at home to the Hamilton Tiger Cats as the CFL Eastern race continues in 1978. We'll be there. We'll have it for you from the Olympic Stadium next Sunday afternoon.
Don, a dejected Toronto team leaving the field here with very little to look forward to, having to go out west next week and play the high-flying Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who upset the Ottawa Football Club. I guess you could call it an upset yesterday afternoon at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. But again, it was the offense that Toronto has not been able to get into gear. They could not control the ball early in the ball game. After Bennett intercepted his first pass, they got into the score to tie the ball game. Instead, fumbled on a 3rd-and-1 situation to Chuck Zapak, and immediately following that, Montreal went in and scored their 2nd touchdown, a pass to Bob Gaddis to put them ahead 14-0. And from that time on, the Argonauts really were never in the ball game.
Well, Bill Hodgson of the Argonauts said to Tom McKee at the outset that it would be foolish to fire the coach and that he didn't think they were into an airlift. I don't know which way they're going to go, but I'll tell you, something has to be done here to keep these Toronto fans happy or get them happy again. Let's go down to Tom now.
And with me is Bob Gaddis, who had 6 passes today for 150 yards. Right away, that's going to make you pretty happy. And as a much-needed bonus, 2 touchdowns. Bob, just a fine afternoon for you.
Well, Tom, it was my first big game, really. I think I had a couple of good games early in the season. But I think right now we are trying to get the ball to me more, which is the thing I like. And just so happened I got lucky today, you know. I hope the luck stays with me.
Well, I think you're approaching if you haven't gone beyond the 30 reception mark for this year. But tell me about this quarterback situation and how it affects people like yourself, wide receiver, flanker, so on.
Well, to tell the truth, it's not really a big adjustment because Jerry and Joe are sort of rollout type quarterbacks, you know. So we get a lot of practice during the week, and after the games, after practice, we run a lot of patterns, and we get to know each other, you know. So it's not really a big adjustment, but I think it's going to be one when Sonny gets back because Sonny is a drop back type quarterback, and he's going to drop back, and I'm knowing where Sonny's going to be at when he drops back. But with Jerry and Joe in there, you know, I go down and I look around and I don't know where they'll be.
Well, what's your responsibility then? You just have to try and get yourself open, right? Like on the Barnes, the pass from Barnes for the touchdown.
Yes, well, it was an out pattern, and the guy was playing me pretty tough. So after I went out and I saw Joe running, sprinting out, I just turned upfield and he just threw the ball and I was open.
And then the other one, of course, was good for just a cool 49 yards.
Well, that was a straight out post pattern that I ran. I just tried to give the guy a quick outside move and cut up on the inside, and unfortunately it was there.
You know, you helped this club last year in the Grey Cup, coming back from the National Football League. I think you were a little indecisive there of what you wanted to do in your career, weren't you?
Well, yes, you know, I was with about 4 teams last year, you know. I was with Montreal, I got cut, and I came back. And I was kind of in limbo for a while there. I didn't know what they wanted me to do. We weren't throwing the ball that much to the left side, and I was just sort of like panicking a little bit. But then they have a good receiver coach in Larry Pasquale, and Larry, like he told me, he said, just keep cool, just keep calm, and we're going to get the ball to you. So eventually it's coming.
Well, it certainly came this afternoon. You had a nice game. Congratulations. We'll let you get down to the dressing room there. You're watching Canadian Professional Football on CBC, and we'll return right after this word.
Here at the James Bay Hydroelectric Project, 2/3 of the way up James Bay, toughness is a way of life. Here, where the cold can get down to an incredible 55 below. Here, where roads are built for heavy equipment and severely test the build of light-duty service vehicles. Here, where toughness is the measure of a man and his equipment, Chevrolet is proving again. Chevrolet trucks are built to stay tough.
This year, Sony is proud to introduce 8 new direct drive turntables. They all feature Sony's exclusive brush and slotless direct drive motor for rock-solid speed control. They all have the operating controls on the outside, so you won't jiggle the stylus by having to open the dust cover to get at the reject button. They're all beautifully finished and go well with any stereo system, and above all, Sony.
The one to watch, the one to see, the CBC this fall.
Tuesday nights this fall, there's comedy on Three's Company. 2 girls and 1 guy sharing 1 apartment. Then award-winning investigative journalism on the Fifth Estate with Adrian Clarkson, Eric Melling, and new reporter Ian Parker.
The CBC this fall.
CBC, the one to watch, Tuesday starting at 8:30 with Three's Company.
Wally Bodle, number 39, and this number 39 jersey seemed like it was all over the field defensively today, and also with your kicking, Wally. Would this be one of your best games?
Well, as far as productivity, probably was, you know, the 2 interceptions and the fumble. I think the thing that's more pleasing than that was the big win we got, and our team, I think, for the first time in a long time, has come together as a complete team. The kicking units were really great. The offense scored a lot of points, and I think the defense is going to get better and better each game. I think now we're just starting to come into our own, and hopefully we'll get the form we had last year.
You know, everybody likes to kick around the idea, well, what was the changing point? When did it swing to the Montreal Alouettes? I think I'd have to go back to very early in the ball game when you made that great goal line stand.
Well, that was a great hit by Randy Rhino. He's only a small man, but he made a big hit, and Chuck picked the ball up and he gave us field position, and then I agree with you, that was a big turning point for us.
You know, Wally told me earlier, he says, oh, well, I was lucky. I was in the right spot a couple of times today. Well, you know, you got to be an architect of your own good fortune.
Well, Lamar's doing a great job in coaching us as far as being in the right spot at the right time, and I tell you, we give a lot of credit to him for it was a big win for us, and I think he deserves a lot of the credit.
You also picked off a couple of passes today. Tell us about that.
In a man coverage, and my back just looped, and I think the ball was thrown a little bit in front of him, a little bit behind him, and he tipped it, and I was just, like I say, I was in the right spot at the right time.
Well, maybe that was a little bit lucky, but certainly the rest of the afternoon wasn't. You played a great ball game, and I also want to talk to you for just a minute, if I may, about your kicking prowess as well, because you were pressed into service when Sonny Wade was injured, the regular punter, and you've really improved by about 5 yards on a little bit of change over your previous years.
Well, like I say, I'm not doing anything different. I did a lot of kicking in college in the U.S., and I was a decent punter there, and I think it's just a matter of getting more confidence in yourself, and you know, I thank the Lord that he's given me that confidence in myself.
Well, it's the fact that you've had more work to do as well, right?
Well, you know, you get used to the pressure, and you know, you're not worried about, well, if you get a bad one once in a while, well, that just happens. You know, you go in there and you kick, and if it goes well, fine. If it doesn't, you know, you just come back the next time.
Now, in terms of the Alouettes in the 1978 season, how do you look upon it now? This was a mighty big game for you. Last Tuesday night was as well. But this one, certainly, when you're sitting and playing 500 ball, you go 4-5 or 5-4. There's quite a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, there sure is, especially with the fact that Ottawa lost last week. It gave us a little bit of a breathing room. We look at it this way: we got an 8-game season. We win our 8 games, we'll be fighting for first place. You know, we didn't play that great in the first 8 games, but I think you're going to see a turning point in this team.
Okay, thank you very much, Wally.
Thank you very much.
Great afternoon for you. We're happy for you. And we have our weekly visit, it seems these days, from Jerry DiTilio, who I don't know if he expected to see much action at the pivot spot today or not.
No, I didn't. I didn't think Joe was really healthy before the game, but I guess he told me after the first pass he thought his knee popped, but he was still all right, and then he got hurt on that one play. So I really don't know what the problem is. Right now, I think it's his cartilage.
He mentioned it to you after the first pass, though, eh?
Yes.
So you were sort of anticipating that you'd be coming in.
Well, I didn't really anticipate. I was kind of hoping that I wouldn't, nothing else would happen to it, because I know his knee is really tender, and he didn't even get hit, really. It's just when he leans over and throws over his left foot, it pops every time.
So this has to be quite a different change for you. You were 5 for 10, by the way, in passing for 94 yards, if you're interested in your statistics there, 500. But how does it differ for you? Now, the game on Tuesday night in Montreal, you started, you had a plan of attack in your mind, I'm sure, and now you come into a situation like this. They differ quite a bit, I would assume.
They do. During the week, I really get nervous if I'm going to start. Like I started last week against Ottawa, I really got nervous, and I think that hinders my play. I didn't really get loose until the second half. But this way here, I'm loosened up before the game, and I'm watching the defense and see what's going on. And I kind of knew what was going on. We had about 5 or 6 running plays to run against them, and that's all we did. We didn't have to go and grab bagging or anything. So I basically had a game plan down before I even went into the game when I come in this type of situation.
All right, Jerry, now if we may, let us break away here for just a moment, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk more with Jerry DiTilio and some of the other Montreal Alouettes. This is Canadian Professional Football on CBC. Oh, I'm sorry. Let us go upstairs and check in with Don Chevrier first.
All right, Tom. Well, there was no contest really today because the Alouettes came out all fired up with Joe Barnes quarterbacking well. He came back after an absence with an injury, and Barnes led the Alouettes into a 14-0 lead. Then his injury. Jerry DiTilio came on and again played very well and held that lead because the Argonauts simply fumbled away chances they might have had to come back in this ball game. There are the final stats. Total offense 276 to 174. The appearance of Rodney Allison got the Argonauts some yardage in the second half after they had 1 point of the first half. Into the second quarter at only 1 yard in total offense against the Montreal Alouettes. Russ, a case of mistakes, mental errors, penalties early in the game that hurt Toronto, and as a result, when you start like that, it's awfully tough to catch up.
Don, I think you've hit the nail right on the head. I think they started off slowly. They were able to contain a little bit as far as the Montreal offense was concerned, and when they did have that interception early in the ball game, did get into the 1-yard line and then fumbled, and they came out and got the other touchdown as far as the Alouettes were concerned. But it was a rather sloppy football game with all the turnovers. I think you mentioned that there were 3 or 4 plays in a row where the ball went back and forth with many turnovers, and I think that's one of the things that the Argonauts have had problems with. They've been getting a lot of penalties, and the penalties have hurt them as well, and they did in those first 2 scoring drives. They gave up 2 first downs on penalties that helped keep the Montreal Alouette march alive when they really weren't moving that ball with any real authority.
Well, we'll have more to say about that in a moment. Right now, let's go back down to Tom.
And Jerry, I'd like to ask you one more thing, and that is about your work, or Joe Scanella's work with you when the defense is in. What goes on there? What are the conversations all about?
Well, we talked to the linemen. We talked to everyone concerned about what kind of plays we think we're going to run. If the linemen are having great success against a certain player, then we'll run on that side. We'll run some plays there. And if the linebackers are blitzing, maybe once in a while we'll throw a screen pass, which we were pretty successful in today. A couple of times where if one guy more would have been blocked, we would have had a touchdown, or big gainers. But we just basically talk about what plays we can run, what's working, what the defense has been doing against us, so we can know we can go into something, maybe change our game plan a little bit or work on something else.
It really seemed like a one-half football game, first half.
Yeah, first half. I think Joe led him, to do 2 big touchdowns, which caught him off guard. We got a great drive going on the first time we had the ball. We got about 6 or 7 minutes to run off the clock, and we got a touchdown. And that doesn't help a team when a defense is on for such a long time. And that's what we try and do as an offensive team, trying to keep the defense off the field as long as we can.
There were so many turnovers near the end of that game. Does that tell you anything?
Well, I think when I was handing the ball off once in a while, the ball would be too low, and it might hit the ball carrier's knee or something like that. I think one happened one time with Ken Starch, and after that, I think Ian dropped one, and I was scrambling around there in the backfield, and I got to learn to keep the ball underneath my arm because I'm running around like a crazy fool, and I dropped the ball.
That can be disastrous, but it wasn't disastrous this afternoon. Thanks a lot, Jerry, for talking with us. Let's talk Dickie Harris now. First of all, I want to know what happened over on the far side, right in front of the Toronto bench. Did you have that ball or not?
Tom, I certainly had it. You could ask anyone on the Toronto side.
They're not going to say that.
They're not going to say it, but he didn't have it at all, and it was a question of whether I had it and kind of bobbled just for a second, and I stayed in bounds too. He just had grabbed my arm when I was running down the sidelines a couple yards. Next thing I knew, he gave the ball to them. I just couldn't believe it.
Did you get the shot for the ungentlemanly conduct?
Yes, I did. I just lost my cool there for a minute.
Yeah, you got an operation coming up, we understand.
Right, I heard it last game in Ottawa.
What is it exactly?
I tore my bicep muscle up here, so it's I can't let it go.
How can you play with that? How can you play with it?
Well, it's really not too painful. It's just that I don't have too much strength there. So, if I let it go the rest of the season, it will be unrepairable at the end. So, the reason I didn't get it done right after the last game was we're in such a bad situation now. I have all our defensive backs hurt. So, as long as I can get operated within 7 to 10 days, it's okay. So, I make this game, and then I got to go under the knife tomorrow. So
you have a little bit of an enforced holiday for about a month. Thank you very much.
Okay,
nice talking with you, Dickie. Okay, let's check some of the highlights with Don Chevrier and Russ Jackson. We'll go back upstairs.
Well, you can define a highlight in many ways. Argonauts, for example, as we'll see, got off to a pretty good start, gambling in a situation, but again, they couldn't hang on to the football. They do the right thing, then the wrong thing.
Well, short yardage situation, and Bragnola, who unfortunately fumbled that ball on the 1-yard line, broke through the initial contact here and looked like he might go all the way. Then as he got downfield, he got tackled. As he was tackled, he dropped the ball. Dickie Harris being the one that pulled him down, and there we were falling on it again, and the turnovers were the problems. We had some turnovers the other way as well, as Jerry D'Attilio went back here. And Paul Bennett, who had pulled off the interception to help the Argonauts in the first half, did it again, brought it back to put them in good field position, but he did not, or was not able to continue on all the way in, as Gaddis, number 22, had a good game offensively, ran him down and pulled him down, and there was nothing for the Argonauts after that.
The second half highlights, there they are, now down to Tom.
Well, from time to time this season, we've had Jenny Meldrum join us with her excursions into the world of professional football. So far, she's investigated the kicking game, and she's even ventured into the huddle to find out what goes on there. Today, however, she might have her hands full.
Okay, gentlemen, can we perhaps discuss the difference between pass receiving and pass defense? How does this work? We'll start with you, Tom.
Okay, well, basically the pass coverage, it's either a man-to-man or a zone, and the receiver and the quarterback have to read during the course of the play whether it is a zone or man-to-man, and the receiver has to adjust his pattern accordingly. And there are different ways to set this up, and Dickie is a defensive back, and he can tell you more about how they play man-to-man and how they play zone coverage.
Okay, Dickie?
Okay, well, zone is just simply what it means. A zone, you have a certain area to cover, whether it be a short zone or a deep zone. One person usually on your side will be deep, and the other person playing alongside you will take a short zone, or possibly it could be deep if you have a 4-deep zone, something like that. And a man-to-man is just simply cover the man
Just
wherever
what
he
it says.
goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes, Jenny, they try to hide it up a little bit on us. So I have to be smart enough to read it within about 3 seconds or so. It takes me a long time to get downfield. Sometimes it depends on a lot of blocking.
Well, is it possible for you guys to show us a fairly simple example of this now, then?
We'll try to be very explicit and do it right now.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll go in this way.
Well, Jenny, when I line up in the tight end position, there's a wide receiver out to my right, usually, in this formation. Tommy's going to throw me a post pattern, which really indicates going to the center of the field. And on this, Dickie probably will be in a...
Hey, I'll play a man-to-man this time, and the next time we'll play a zone.
Okay. So what I'll try to do, Jenny, is to put a couple of moves, knowing that Dickie's on a man-to-man, has me all the way, and Tommy tries to lead me away from it. We try it?
Okay, let's
we
go.
Want to make sure you get it.
Yes.
All right, T. Okay.
Go. That's successful. Tommy, how are you going to know then that Dick is playing on a zone defense in this particular instance?
Well, actually, a lot of the times you have to wait till you get the ball and the play starts to be executed because they disguise their coverage sometimes. So usually you look at one guy, the free safety or the linebackers can tell you whether it's going to be a zone or a man-to-man, and they have to follow them all over the field. So if Dickie lines up directly over the tight end and all the defensive backs line up directly over the other receivers, then that's a tip-off that it could be man-to-man, but you don't actually know till the play's in progress. Okay. And you just have to read along with the tight end while you're doing it.
That sounded a little complicated. Maybe it'll look simpler once we do it.
So on this, too, as the receiver, I try to analyze as well to see whether usually the middle safety will come over top of me, which indicates to me as a tip-off, as Tom says, that it is a man-to-man coverage. And Dickie, and this time around in his zone, will have an area to cover, and he'll drop back into that area, right, Dick?
Okay, I have an area to cover, which is different from the man-to-man where I follow him anywhere he goes on the field. In this area, I stay in this area, and if he happens to stay in my area, I'll cover him. But if he leaves my area, then I have to let him go because someone else may come into my area. So I have to just maintain that area and not leave it.
Okay, we'll just run the same pattern on the first sound.
As wide as possible.
Go. I think I saw what you meant there, because I saw that Dickie left you, right? Because he had to stay in his zone.
Exactly. It wasn't bad coverage on his part. He did what his job was as a defensive back. But as a receiver, I had to try to split a seam, and that is between his zone, and then it would be one over, which would be the middle safety. So I try to run my post pattern deeper.
The imaginary line that we can't see, but that you fellas are all aware of. Is that right then? That
Right.
divides the zones.
Yes, and it's as you can see, a fairly big field. So you try to use as many receivers as possible to get those open areas in a zone defense, and it doesn't work sometimes.
Okay,
so
now if I'm going to cover Tony, tell me how I do it.
Okay, well, basically, again, there's the man-to-man and zone, right? A man-to-man, as a defensive back, I'm going to be concentrating really just on you. I'm not going to be concerned with too many other things.
Right.
What we'll do is we'll have you run a pattern, and I'll cover you and try to explain a few things why I'm covering you there.
Can you touch me when I start to run?
The only time I can touch you is if you come into me, or straight on. I can't hit you from the side, like if you're by me, on either side. But if you come into me straight forward, I get one push on you.
And that's it?
And that's
Until I catch the ball or supposedly catch the ball?
Right.
Okay, so show me. Now, what do I do?
Okay. The thing with a defensive back is you always have to have a little cushion. I can't let you get up close to me unless I do have me hit you, right? Because I'm running backwards and
So
you're
I
running
can-
forward, so you'll probably just go right by me.
Right.
So I have to keep usually about a yard and a half to 2 yards cushion.
Okay, so
right?
now I'm going to try and outdink you, right?
Right.
Okay.
Jenny, come on back in here. That was a hell of a pattern you ran. All right. Hey, I can't be too bad of a coach.
Yeah, this is true.
That's a nice move you put on Dickie. This time around, I want you to play the defender. Okay, and I'll try to put a couple moves on you and see if you can stay with me. What you've learned now is the man-to-man coverage, right? But this is going to be man-to-woman coverage, all right?
Sounds good.
And we'll see how it works out, all right?
All right.
Jenny, you can't get that close. I might be able to just beat you around, so you might have to drop off a little bit. Usually about 8 yards deep, I would think. And Dickie would probably attest to that. Maybe a few yards deeper. That's that. You mentioned that cushion that you're going to need. On a tight end as slow as me, you don't need that much. So you can come up to 7. No, that's all right. Okay, I'll just get a pattern with Tommy.
Just wait there. He's going to come to you.
Okay, I'll just go this way. You ready? Jenny's ready. Here you go. You should play a little bit to the outside because you've already given me the outside if you do that. Ready? Here we go. Hey! Oh, interception. Hey! Oh, you threw it right at me. You had an interception. Hit you in a good place in the hands. Oh, almost.
That was pretty good, but you asked me before, how do you run backwards so fast?
Well, I couldn't keep with him.
There comes a certain point when he comes up to you and he's almost to that cushion to you and he's going to make that break or whatever, right? When he makes that break one way or the other, you'll come out of your back pedal and you'll front out, turn sideways, and you'll be running like forward then.
But you didn't tell me that before I started this. This isn't fair. I was madly trying to go back.
Now you know, though. That's
yes,
how you
I
learn,
did.
right?
Okay, you're right.
Well, Jenny, the first time around, I have to say, accordingly for all us coaches, that I think you did a heck of a job. I like to move you. Great coaching, so you can take the mic because I'm not used to that. How's that?
Listen, it's been a real pleasure. You guys have been just terrific. Thank you very much, and I hope we've helped you people out there.
Well, I'm sure you have, Jenny, and I wonder where you're going to show up next. In the Eastern Conference of the CFL, there was a big 4-point victory. That's what it boils down to today for the Montreal Alouettes over the Toronto Argonauts. And so the East shapes up as a battle for the third and final playoff spot. We'll be with you next Sunday as the Hamilton Tiger Cats meet the Montreal Alouettes at the Big O, the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The final score again today, Montreal 27, Toronto 2. Edmonton leads Hamilton 7-0 in the first quarter. I'm Tom McKee. Good afternoon. Canadian Professional Football on CBC, brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. KTEL International, specialists in household and leisure time products. Shell Canada Limited, Shell helps. Grandstand Quarterback is produced by CBC in conjunction with Morley Cows Productions Limited.
This is CBC,